On the school track, Lin Xiu crawled on his knees under a crushing weight of 1,000 pounds, struggling through the entire night. All of this thanks to his so-called growth system. It had generously handed him a rapid growth starter pack. At first, he thought it was just some kind of training gear, still wondering what it was supposed to do. Then a system prompt chimed in, rapid growth system initializing. In the next instant, the gear's weight skyrocketed to a full 1,000 pounds. Lin Xiu was pinned down, barely able to breathe, let alone move. He grit his teeth, tried to force himself up, but his body refused to obey. When he finally thought about giving up and taking the gear off, a violent surge of electricity blasted through his body. The system's cold warning followed. Growth sequence incomplete. Removal prohibited. Lin Xiu cursed the system through clenched teeth. But the system even had the audacity to mock him. Master, I suggest you adapt quickly. Otherwise, you'll be crawling to school tomorrow. And so, under the weight of 1,000 pounds, he crawled on that track all night long. By dawn, he could barely manage to stand. Yet the progress bar showed his growth had only reached 10%. Worse still, this system wasn't done tormenting him. The very day Lin Xiu first crossed into this world, he had been bullied mercilessly by his roommate, Ma Chong. At that time, Lin Xiu's eyes were lifeless. He felt utterly hopeless. What kind of rotten luck was this? Crossing worlds just to get beaten up? Then, out of nowhere, the system granted him a skill, Charge Strike. The catch? It could only be activated by taking hits and storing up rage. Only when the rage gauge was full could the skill be unleashed. So, when Lin Xiu was on the verge of being beaten to death, the familiar chime echoed in his ears. Rage fully charged. Release Charge Strike. He didn't hesitate. He confirmed. The moment their fists collided, the impossible happened. Ma Chong's arm shattered bone by bone. His body was sent flying several meters away. His lackeys stood frozen, eyes wide in disbelief. Meanwhile, Lin Xiu stood tall, not a single scratch on him. He glared at them, his voice cold and sharp. Get lost. Terrified, the lackeys grabbed Ma Chong and bolted. Truth was, Lin Xiu was already at his limit. If they hadn't run, his act would have been exposed. After unleashing that strike, his arm was almost useless. But then, another prompt rang out. First use of Charge Strike detected. Achievement unlocked. 1 free lottery spin. Curious, Lin Xiu tapped the option. A massive wheel appeared before his eyes, filled with glittering prizes of every kind. Lin Xiu slammed the button, praying desperately. Please, just give me credits. Without them, I can't even afford the medical bills for this body. Almost as if the system heard him, the pointer stopped firmly on the prize, 10,000 alliance credits. Relief washed over him. With money in hand, everything became possible. Without hesitation, he rushed to the infirmary. A nurse greeted him, and he asked for treatment. To recover as fast as possible, he didn't hesitate to spend 9,800 credits on a premium repair serum, burning through almost all his winnings. Looking at his battered body inside the treatment pod, Lin Xiu sighed. The original owner of this body must have lived worse than I imagined. Constantly bullied and beaten. After all, this was a world crawling with mutant beasts and the undead, where only strength dictated status. And he had been nothing more than a talentless waste. His classmates mocked him daily, sneering that he was wasting resources. Even the teachers looked down on him, saying that letting him stay in school was already an act of mercy. Lin Xiu clenched his fists. From today onward, I won't let anyone step on me again. When he stepped out of the repair pod, he would be reborn as a brand new Lin Xiu. But to grow stronger, real combat was indispensable. Conveniently, the homeroom teacher was registering students for live training in Zone 20. Only those at novice warrior rank or higher were qualified to go. Naturally, the teacher called out Ma Chong, who was already a candidate. But a classmate spoke up awkwardly, Sir. Ma Chong's in emergency surgery. Lin Xiu broke all his ribs. The classroom exploded. How could the weakest bottom feeder Lin Xiu possibly injure Ma Chong? Impossible. Ridiculous. Even the teacher pressed his temples, troubled. Just then, a calm but steady voice came from the doorway. "Teacher, may I go instead?" Everyone turned. The Lin Xiao standing there seemed like a different person, bright, confident, radiating an aura no one had seen before. Yet the teacher frowned, advising carefully, "Lin Xiao, reach at least novice warrior rank first. Then we'll talk about field training." His words immediately drew mocking laughter from his classmates. "Trash. Zone A20 is crawling with zombies and mutant beasts. You're just rushing to get yourself killed." Lin Xiao smirked coldly. "If I beat you, does that mean I qualify to go?" That remark infuriated Su Jun. "You worthless piece of trash. Beating Ma Chong doesn't give you the right to bark at me." Lin Xiao calmly activated Eye of Analysis, scanning Su Jun's stats. The results made him raise a brow. Su Jun's combat rating was actually weaker than Ma Chong's. They agreed to settle it after class in the training arena. Word spread fast. By the time the duel began, a crowd of students had gathered around the stage, eager for a good show. As Lin Xiao stepped onto the platform, Su Jun charged forward, throwing a wild punch. But instead of dodging, Lin Xiao chose to take the hit head-on. Agonizing pain shot through his body, but his rage gauge instantly climbed to 20%. From then on, Lin Xiao didn't fight back. He dodged and blocked, patiently waiting for his rage to max out. The onlookers jeered louder. "Pathetic. He's just running and hiding like always." Only the teacher watching closely noticed, though Lin Xiao evaded, he didn't look the least bit desperate. Su Jun grew red with anger, shouting, "Coward! Stop dodging and fight me head-on." Just then, the system's chime echoed. Rage fully charged, 100%. Lin Xiao's eyes sharpened. He stopped dodging and unleashed Charge Strike, meeting Su Jun's fist head-on. Boom! A shockwave of raw energy blasted across the stage. Su Jun's body flew backward like a rag doll, crashing outside the ring with a heavy thud. The entire arena fell silent, everyone staring in stunned disbelief. Su Jun coughed blood, struggling to rise, and roared, "Lin Xiao, you're still just trash." Lin Xiao's reply was calm. "I see. If you lose to trash, then what does that make you? Trash among trash." No one dared to laugh anymore. No one dared to oppose him joining the field training. Soon after, the academy announced that Lin Xiao's class would be deployed to City Zone A2 for live combat training. The area had once been ravaged by nuclear fallout and viral mutations. Now was swarming with zombies and mutant monstrosities. Still, the teacher reassured them. They had undergone long-term training, and with academy-issued battle blades and combat suits, ordinary monsters posed little threat. But danger and opportunity walked hand in hand. Parts of mutant beasts could be harvested as rare crafting materials, and the core crystals within their brains were prized treasures that boosted cultivation. At that, excitement lit up the students' faces. One by one, they prepared themselves, eager to test their strength in the field. But the moment Lin Xiao joined the squad, two teammates looked down their noses at him, warning coldly, "Don't drag us down." Thankfully, Fatty stepped up to defend him, easing the tension. Suddenly, Lin Xiao raised his hand for silence. He had caught something moving in the distance. Instantly, everyone grew alert, slipping into battle stance. Then boom, 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 heavy footsteps thundered closer. A hulking zombie burst out of the shadows. Data from Eye of Analysis flickered into view. Combat power, 380. Lin Xiao's heart sank. His own rating was only 291. Even a low-tier zombie had a higher stat than him. The others, facing a zombie for the first time, shrank back nervously, unwilling to advance. But Lin Xiao, hungry for EXP, charged in recklessly with his blade. To his shock, the zombie went down in a single strike, cleaved cleanly in half. Oh, that's it. Combat power is just a guideline, not absolute strength. Ding. Congratulations, host. First order zombie slain. EXP plus 200. Ding. Level up. Current level, 2. Reward, plus 2 stat points. Excitement surged through him. With the system growth felt effortless. Without hesitation, he dumped both points straight into strength. Yet in battle, the greatest mistake was carelessness. A teammate's shout jolted him back to reality. 3 zombies had slipped behind him, lunging to attack. Seeing Lin Xiu frozen in place, Zhang Yi thought he was paralyzed with fear. With a roar, he charged in, blade flashing. Slash! In an instant, the 3 zombies were shredded into chunks, rotting limbs raining down onto the dirt. Yi Qiu quickly raised a thumb, flattering. "Brother Zhang, you're amazing." Zhang Yi smirked but couldn't resist sneering. And who was it that just froze like a coward? Lin Xiu ignored him. His eyes lingered on the fallen corpses with regret. All that wasted EXP. With a helpless sigh, he sheathed his blade and pressed onward with the team. Before long, they stumbled upon another zombie. But this one was different. Its muscles were grotesquely overdeveloped, black veins crawling across its skin like stone patterns. It radiated a menace far beyond the ones before. Lin Xiu quickly signaled his teammates to hold their ground. "Don't make a move." But Yi Qiu ignored him, scoffing that it was just a normal zombie, eager to show off in front of the others. Even Fatty was about to step forward, until Lin Xiu blocked him. Data from Eye of Analysis was clear. This wasn't an ordinary monster. It was a zombie leader. At that very moment, Yi Qiu was already swaggering up to it, shouting, "Come here and die." The zombie leader took the provocation head-on, exploding forward with terrifying speed. By the time Yi Qiu realized something was wrong, it was already too late. In an instant, he was slammed to the ground. The creature's fangs gnashed inches from his throat, ready to tear him apart. Just then, Zhang Yi arrived in time. With a fierce flying kick, he knocked the zombie leader sprawling. He raised his blade high, preparing to finish it off. Lin Xiu shouted urgently, "That's a leader class zombie. You have to one-shot it. Otherwise, it'll summon reinforcements." Zhang Yi sneered back, "Huh? Since when does a weakling like you get to teach me how to fight?" His blade came down, only for the zombie leader to blur out of the way with explosive speed. The strike hacked off nothing but its arm. Zhang Yi froze. "What? It can dodge." Enraged and wounded, the zombie leader unleashed a furious roar. The shriek echoed across the entire zone. All around them, dormant zombies began to stir. In moments, the area was swarming with low-tier undead. None of the 4 had ever seen a sight like this before. Fear spread like wildfire. Zhang Yi was the first to crack, his face pale with terror. Abandoning his comrades, he turned tail and ran for his life. But in Lin Xiu's eyes, this wasn't a disaster. This was a jackpot. So many EXP pinatas. If I take them all down, I could level up several times in one go. Ignoring Fatty's shouts, he charged in headlong, blade flashing. Win big or die trying. Time to roll the dice. A mere horde of zombies? He believed he could do it. Fatty stared in disbelief. Was this really the Lin Xiu he knew? Did he really need to gamble his life this hard? Yet perhaps inspired by Lin Xiu's reckless courage, Fatty gritted his teeth, raised his own blade, and dove into the fray at his side. But no matter how hard they fought, the horde didn't seem to thin. Exhaustion crept in, their defenses beginning to falter. Then, the zombie leader struck again, pouncing from behind. With brutal force, it slammed Lin Xiu to the ground. Fatty panicked, but he was locked in his own fight, unable to help. The leader's jaws snapped open, lunging for Lin Xiu's throat. With every ounce of strength, Lin Xiu drove a desperate punch into its face, barely deflecting the killing bite. But the monster still pinned him down, and he couldn't break free. Just when Lin Xiu thought this was the end for him, the system chimed. His zombie kills had been tallied, and to his shock, his level shot up by 3 ranks, granting him plus 12 stat points. A spark of hope ignited in his eyes. Without hesitation, he dumped every single point straight into strength. His arms swelled, muscles bulging, growing visibly thicker. He clamped both hands around the zombie leader's skull, and with a savage twist, crack, its neck snapped 180 degrees, leaving the monster paralyzed. Lin Xiu tore himself free from its grasp. Snatching his fallen blade from the ground, he delivered the finishing strike. Ding! Congratulations, host. Leader class, zombie slain. Level up 6. Reward, plus 6 stat points. System unlocked, gene lock. Lin Xiao allocated the new points evenly into constitution and agility. His combat power surged, finally hitting 380. With the leader dead, the remaining low-tier zombies were quickly dispatched. Then Lin Xiao noticed something new on his status screen. Gene lock. Every warrior knew it. Most of humanity's potential lay dormant, sealed within the body. The gene lock represented the most primal barrier to that hidden strength. Legends claimed that unlocking it fully would elevate one to a godlike existence. Driven by curiosity, Lin Xiao tried to activate the first stage. But the moment he confirmed, warning, minimum level requirement, 15. Unlock failed. A cold chill ran down his spine like a bucket of ice water dumped over his head. But he quickly clenched his fists, muttering, "So it's only level 15. I just need to grind harder. I'll get there soon enough." Determined, he pressed forward, eager to farm more EXP. Before long, the path was blocked by a rusted signpost. On it were scrawled the words, "Novice warriors forbidden beyond this point." He recalled Teacher Luo's stern warning before they left. Never go too deep. The monsters in the inner zone are beyond your ability to face. Yet Lin Xiao hesitated. On their march, he hadn't encountered any more zombies. No zombies meant no EXP. As he wrestled with the thought, Fatty suddenly went pale, pointing a trembling finger behind him. A snake. Lin Xiao spun around, scalp tingling that wasn't just a snake. A massive azure python was uncoiling from the trees above, its scales shimmering. A tier 3 chameleon serpent. Worse yet, Eye of Analysis failed to process its stats. Lin Xiao's heart sank. This monster, we don't stand a chance. Suddenly, the serpent struck. Its venomous fangs gnashed wide, snapping toward them in a deadly lunge. They managed to dodge, but the sheer force of the strike still sent them flying. Lin Xiao used the momentum to roll backward, pulling himself away. Yet the serpent seemed fixated on him alone, thundering after him. Lin Xiao nearly cried in frustration. Why me? Why not chase Fatty for once? Meanwhile, Fatty had run himself ragged, glancing back only to realize the serpent wasn't after him at all. He also noticed Lin Xiao was gone, likely forced deeper into the ruins. Lin Xiao kept running until he realized the serpent was no longer behind him. He pressed against a broken wall, breathing shallowly, heart pounding. With its camouflage scales, the beast could blend into the environment. For all he knew, it was already stalking him. That's when an arrow suddenly appeared in his vision, its tip aimed directly at his forehead. Lin Xiao froze. He hadn't expected to run into an adventurer squad here. These were licensed hunters, professionals who made their living killing zombies and mutant beasts from materials and core crystals, far beyond what he could handle. One of them spotted his Xingyao Academy combat uniform. Greed flashed in his eyes. He wanted Lin Xiao's blade. In A2 district without a weapon, you were as good as dead. Lin Xiao readied himself to resist, but the man raised his war blade, prepared to cut him down. Then, the serpent reappeared, jaws gaping, lunging from behind them. One adventurer vanished in a single gulp, devoured whole. The squad leader shouted, "Stay calm. It's a tier 3 evolution beast. Its core crystal and scales are worth millions." The adventurer's eyes gleamed with greed. If they could slay it, they'd be rich. But to Lin Xiao, a handful of tier 1 warriors challenging a tier 3 monster was pure suicide, dying for wealth, like moths to a flame. Hidden in the shadows, he chose to watch, waiting for both sides to bleed each other dry before slipping away with his blade. A gunshot rang out. The serpent roared, writhing in fury. The shooter was instantly smashed apart by its tail, his body cleaved in two. A bald adventurer leapt onto its head, swinging a massive greatsword. The serpent responded by snapping his arm clean off. The captain bellowed, "Go for the weak point. The 7 inches." The squad launched a desperate assault, blades and bullets hammering the beast. Finally, the leader drove his long blade deep into its throat. The serpent collapsed with an earth-shaking crash. Though slain, the victory was hollow. Nearly the entire squad was dead, leaving only the captain alive, barely standing. As the battle ended, Lin Xiu quietly retrieved his warblade, ready to slip away, only to be spotted immediately by the adventurer captain. The man snarled, "If you want to live, strip the serpent's hide and dig out its core crystal for me." But Lin Xiu didn't even bother taking him seriously. A crippled, half-dead loner? He had no right to threaten him. As far as Lin Xiu was concerned, all the spoils of war were his alone. The captain roared with rage, swinging his blade down at him. Lin Xiu sidestepped lightly, the strike whistling past. Seizing the opening, his own blade flashed, slicing the man's arm clean off. The captain screamed, face twisted in terror. You wouldn't dare? I'm from the Zhang clan." But Lin Xiu didn't care about some Zhang clan. All he knew was that these men had tried to kill him for his weapon. With a decisive slash, the captain fell lifeless. Ding. Congratulations, host. First kill of a tier 1 warrior. Reward, plus 2,500 EXP. Level up 7. Bonus, 1 lottery spin. Yet more than the system's rewards, it was the loot that caught his eye. Drawing a dagger, he split open the serpent's skull. Inside, he pried free a shimmering violet core crystal, worth a fortune on its own. Searching the adventurer's packs, he also uncovered 2 core crystals. Altogether, an incredible haul. Lin Xiu decided it was time to regroup with Fatty. But then his eyes landed on a nearby sign, painted in ominous red letters. He froze. He'd been heading the wrong way again. Cursing under his breath, he turned to leave at once. Roar. A thunderous bellow shook the forest to its roots. A wave of dread washed over Lin Xiu's chest. From the treetops above, a tier 4 thunder leopard slinked into view, electricity crackling across its fur. In that instant, only one thought burned in his mind. Run. Run now. But before he could bolt, a tall woman with long white hair stepped out of the trees, her presence calm, yet utterly commanding. Lin Xiu froze. A tier 4 warrior. Even his eye of analysis couldn't read her stats or abilities. With a single swing of her blade, the woman unleashed twin arcs of golden sword light, cutting straight toward the thunder leopard. Sparks and crackling arcs erupted as the strikes tore across its hide. The beast roared, lunging back at her in a frenzy. But her speed rivaled its own. One graceful leap carried her clear of the attack. She countered instantly, her blade carving across the leopard's neck. The impact hurled the beast several meters, smashing it into a massive tree trunk. Just one strike had left the thunder leopard crippled, barely able to move. Lin Xiu's heart pounded. So this is the might of a high-tier warrior? One day, I'll surpass even her. He thought it was over, until the woman stepped closer. The thunder leopard's eyes flared with malice. It gathered its final strength, condensing a massive orb of violet lightning. Caught off guard, the woman had no choice but to raise her blade in defense. Boom! The sphere detonated in a cataclysmic blast. Her body was flung dozens of meters, tumbling helplessly off the edge of a distant cliff. Lin Xiu stood rooted dumbstruck. The beast's death throes are this terrifying? Then a dark thought surfaced. If I land the finishing blow now, would the system count it as my kill? Creeping forward, he edged closer to the crippled thunder leopard, blade in hand. But suddenly, a chill ran down his spine. Something far more terrifying than the leopard was watching him. Another thunder leopard emerged from the trees, its eyes locked hungrily on Lin Xiu. He cursed under his breath. Greed really does get you killed. I forgot, thunder leopards always hunt in pairs. The beast spotted its injured mate and roared in fury. It charged after him like a bolt of madness. At the path's end loomed a sheer cliff. Lin Xiu had nowhere left to run. Gripping his blade, he shouted nervously, "Easy there, Mrs. Leopard. Don't come closer, or I'll slice your waist in half." The joke barely left his lips before the predator leapt. Lin Xiao didn't hesitate. He hurled himself off the cliff. Better to be smashed to pieces than roasted alive and served as lunch. Luckily, branches along the cliff face and the lake below broke his fall, sparing his life. But he wasn't alone. Floating unconscious on the water was the same silver-haired girl the thunder leopard had blasted earlier. After confirming she was only unconscious, Lin Xiao dragged her to shore, laying her beneath the shade. Lin Xiao had never seen a girl this beautiful before. What shocked him even more was that she looked barely in her early 20s, yet she was already a Tier 4 warrior. She must be from a major clan, Lin Xiao guessed. A true prodigy. Just then, his stomach growled loudly, spotting fish leaping in the lake. He caught a few and roasted them over a fire. He was chewing happily on fresh fish when SHNK, a blade stabbed toward his back, making him jolt in fright. The girl had weakly raised her sword, glaring at him. "What did you do to me while I was out?" Realizing the misunderstanding, Lin Xiao quickly waved his hands. "Nothing. I saved you, that's all." Then he smirked, adding, "Relax, I'm not the type to demand repayment. I won't make you marry me or anything." Her pale cheeks flushed red as she turned away, muttering, "Shameless." Lin Xiao only grinned, handing her a skewer of roasted fish. "Name's Lin Xiao." She took it, her tone cool. "Luo you." Biting into the fish, she added coldly, "I don't like debts. Tell me what you want. I'll pay it back. Then we're even." Lin Xiao hadn't expected the girl he saved to be this cold toward her rescuer. Testing the waters, he said he wanted to become as strong as her. "Luo, you didn't even look impressed. Your talent's way too poor," she dismissed. The words stabbed like a blade. "Do I have no dignity at all?" Lin Xiao fumed internally. Night fell. Luo, you drifted into sleep. Lin Xiao, however, quietly pulled up his system interface and began fiddling with it. He still hadn't used today's lottery spin. Excited, he triggered the draw. Hands clasped in prayer, he muttered, "Please, just give me a weapon." The pointer slowed and stopped on jackpot. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have obtained the jackpot reward. Martial skill card. 100 birds facing the phoenix. Lin Xiao froze. A martial skill card, crafted only by Tier 6 warriors? By convention, such cards were ranked bronze, silver, gold, and diamond. He looked up and saw a pale green bronze card floating above his head. His face went dark. Seriously? A jackpot, and I get the lowest tier? But on closer inspection, his jaw dropped. It wasn't an ordinary bronze card. It was a growth-type martial card, rarer even than diamond. This card would evolve as he grew stronger. The next morning, Luo Yu awoke to find Lin Xiao grinning suspiciously to himself. Curious, she leaned closer to peek. Lin Xiao quickly hid the card out of sight. Just then, a commotion stirred in the distance. Luo Yu instantly tensed, every muscle alert. Lin Xiao's mind flashed back to the last adventurer squad, the one that had tried to kill him on sight. Not knowing whether these newcomers were friend or foe, he decided to slip away before they noticed him. Luo Yu's injuries hadn't healed. She could barely move. Lin Xiao crouched down, offering his back. She huffed. "Did I say you could carry me?" Yet a moment later, she found herself on his back anyway, cheeks flushed. Lin Xiao quipped, "If you really mind, I can leave you here, but someone as pretty as you? If an adventurer squad finds you, I doubt they'll just walk away." Luo Yu fell silent, allowing herself to be carried. They hadn't gone far when a Tier 2 winged red serpent slithered into their path. Only Lin Xiao still had the strength to fight. Gritting her teeth, Luo Yu handed him her sword. The moment it touched his hands, Lin Xiao nearly staggered under its weight. He was stunned. How is it this heavy? Yet Luo Yu had wielded it one-handed with ease. The gap in power was undeniable. Carefully, Lin Xiao set her down. He raised the blade, bracing himself for battle. Luo Yu's voice was calm but sharp. "The winged serpent is fast, especially deadly at night. Don't act rashly. Follow my commands." The serpent struck, its movements a blur. Lin Xiao's eyes couldn't follow, but Luo Yu's command cut through the chaos. He slashed left on instinct, steel met Fong, deflecting the deadly strike. Taking advantage of the serpent's brief opening, Lin Xiu twisted around. His blade drove downward, skewering the winged red serpent's head clean through. Luo Yu only sighed from the side. Pathetic. You can't even handle a tear, too, serpent. Your aptitude really is abysmal. The word stung worse than poison. Lin Xiu bellowed at the writhing beast. Come on then, bite me. I'll kill you, rip out your core, and sell it for coin. How's that for payback? But suddenly, the serpent's flesh split open. Even severed, its head lunged with vicious spite. Lin Xiu was too slow. Fangs sank deep into his arm, venom burning instantly. Damn it, he cursed. I tell you to bite, and you actually do? Taking it way too far. With a furious stomp, he crushed the serpent's skull underfoot. Only then did the familiar chime echo. System notification. Host has slain winged red serpent. Experience awarded. Lin Xiu grimaced. Next time, wait for the system prompt before relaxing. Luo Yu smirked, enjoying his misfortune. She'd known all along that winged red serpents could strike even after decapitation, yet hadn't warned him. The venom took hold quickly. Agony flared in his arm. Red welts spread across his skin. His body burned hotter by the second. Luo Yu's expression shifted. Damn, winged red serpent venom. It drives the victim into uncontrollable lust. Already, Lin Xiu's eyes glazed, his face twisting with feral desire. His posture turned predatory, an unsettling leer spreading across his features. Luo Yu's heart jolted, fear flashing across her face. Stay back. Don't you dare come closer. Lin Xiu no longer understood what was happening. All he knew was that he was about to lose control. Poison raging through his veins, Lin Xiu lunged and slammed Luo Yu down, completely losing control. Her furious voice cut through his haze. Get off me. Touch me again, and I'll kill you. But before she could finish, his lips crashed onto hers. Luo Yu froze in shock. Her first kiss, stolen in this humiliating moment. Rage flared, and she bit down hard on his lip. The pain jolted Lin Xiu back to himself. He scrambled off her, stammering apologies for what he'd done. Luo Yu's voice was ice. One more step, and I'll kill you where you stand. Clutching his bleeding lip, Lin Xiu stumbled away. He dove headlong into the nearby lake, a great splash echoing through the ruins. The icy water smothered the fever in his blood, clearing his mind at last. Shame and a strange thrill twisted inside him. I actually kissed that ice-cold beauty, soft, warm, unreal. Under a tree, Luo Yu sat fuming, cursing him as a scoundrel. Yet deep down, worry flickered. Why hasn't he come back yet? Lost in her thoughts, she didn't sense the danger creeping closer. A band of adventurers emerged from the shadows, eyes glinting with malice. Luo Yu snapped to alertness, barking, "Leave or die." The men only sneered at the threat of a wounded Tier 4 warrior. They'd seen the Thunder Leopard's dying strike knock her off the cliff and knew she was just barely standing. Their gazes turned lewd, hunger obvious. Luo Yu's brows knitted as she lashed out with her blade. But injured and alone, she was swiftly tripped. Rough hands pinned her to the ground. The leader grinned, convinced she was his. No one comes this deep into the forbidden ruins, he thought. She's mine. Just as despair loomed, Lin Xiu appeared, stepping forward with a face like a thundercloud. His voice was a cold growl. You've chosen death. The man's pleasure soured into fury at the interruption, his expression turning dark. Lin Xiu ignored him, speaking coldly. Zhang Liang. Tier 2 warrior. Blade specialist. Combat power, 1,540. His eye of analysis activated, exposing every detail of the adventurer's stats. Zhang Liang froze. No combat scanner, yet the boy read their data flawlessly. That could only mean one thing. His strength was far beyond theirs. Lin Xiu barked. You've got 5 seconds to run. Stay and you'll die here. Under the crushing weight of his bluff, the adventurer's squad bolted without hesitation. Once they were gone, Lin Xiao turned to Luo Yu, concern softening his tone. She, however, eyed him curiously. How did you know their stats? Lin Xiao smirked. That's my secret. He crouched again, letting her climb onto his back as they retreated deeper into the ruins. Meanwhile, realization dawned on the fleeing adventurers. If he were truly that strong, why would he leave in such a hurry? Rage twisted Zhang Liang's face. He slammed a fist into a tree, splintering bark. That brat played us. Vowing revenge, he decided to camp at the ruin's edge, waiting for Lin Xiao and Luo Yu to walk into his trap. But Lin Xiao had no intention of leaving. Carrying Luo Yu, he advanced further into the forbidden zone. When Luo Yu frowned at his choice, Lin Xiao explained, if they're smart, they'll guard the perimeter. Better we stay here a few days. Once you've recovered, then we'll leave. His calm reasoning surprised her. For the first time, Luo Yu's opinion of him shifted slightly. By dawn, she had dozed off against his shoulder, sleeping peacefully through the night. When Lin Xiao awoke, he nearly jumped. He had held her in his arms the whole time. If she finds out, she'll kill me for sure. But when Luo Yu stirred, she didn't even notice. Instead, her eyes narrowed. She'd sensed a mutated beast approaching. Lin Xiao's heart lifted. She must be healed enough to fight again. To his shock, Luo Yu simply tossed him her sword. 2 more days before I'm ready. Take it. You fight. Lin Xiao's face drained of color. What? The beasts here are at least tier 2. I'm not even a warrior. Are you trying to get me killed? Luo Yu snapped coldly. With strength like yours, if you don't fight real enemies, how do you expect to improve? Lin Xiao's first true opponent was a tier 2 mutant beast. Luo Yu instructed calmly from the side. That's a tusk wild boar. It specializes in linear charges. Its weakness is the underbelly. Even as she spoke, the boar roared and thundered straight toward him. By the second day, Lin Xiao could dispatch a tier 2 Black Panther with ease. His tally had already reached 30 mutant beasts. Under Luo Yu's sharp guidance, his progress was astonishing. He even managed to slay 2 tier 3 beasts, pushing his level up to LV9. Every beast core they harvested, Luo Yu gave to him without hesitation. The girl who seemed like an ice queen was, in her own way, repaying his earlier rescue. By then, Luo Yu's injuries had fully healed. Before leaving, she turned to him with icy eyes. If we meet again and your strength is still below mine, I'll kill you myself. Lin Xiao was stunned. Why had she suddenly returned to her old, frigid self? Watching her departing figure, he called after her, Wait, where are you from? She didn't turn, only tossing back 2 words, sanctum. After Luo Yu vanished, Lin Xiao made his way alone to the edge of the forbidden zone. He thought the adventurer squad would have left by now, but they lay in ambush. Reflex saved him. He ducked just in time to avoid a lethal strike. Seeing only a tier 1 warrior before him, Lin Xiao planned to finish the fight quickly before reinforcements arrived. But the man immediately unleashed a bronze-grade combat skill, White Serpent Spitzfawn. The force slammed into Lin Xiao, hurling him several meters through the air. He rolled violently before smashing into a boulder, the impact rattling his bones. Lin Xiao had a new skill card in hand, but without a proper weapon, he couldn't activate it. Still, the clash spiked his rage gauge to 90%. The first exchange only made the man sneer harder. How could a rookie without a combat skill possibly threaten him? He lunged again, confident he could end it in one blow. But once more, Lin Xiao met the strike head-on, deflecting it with sheer grit. A chime echoed in his mind, frowny face system notification. Rage fully charged. Activate charge strike? Lin Xiao gritted his teeth. Yes. Power surged in his right leg, every muscle tightening like drawn steel. He kicked forward with explosive force. A move of his own creation, frowny face, heaven-breaking kick. The man scoffed, raising a hand to block, unaware of the danger. The instant his palm met Lin Xiao's leg, bone shattered with a sickening crack, crack, crack. And then the full impact hit, his lower half obliterated. The scream that followed could have shaken the heavens. Lin Xiao didn't hesitate, while the man writhed helplessly. His blade flashed once, and the fight was over. System notification. Enemy defeated. Level up LV.10. Another alert followed. Frowny face. New skill unlocked. Rage burst. Strength, agility, and constitution massively increased for 10 minutes. The rest of the adventurers arrived moments later, forming a loose circle around Lin Xiao. Their captain spotted the corpse of his fallen man, and rage exploded in his chest. Murderous intent radiated off him like heat. "Kill him," he roared at once. The squad charged together. Lin Xiao groaned. "Seriously? 5-on-1. What happened to martial ethics?" 4 tier. 1 warriors and 1 tier 2 captain. There was no winning that head-on. But losing didn't mean dying, not if he ran fast enough. He dumped every potential point into speed, then activated Rage Burst without hesitation. Strength, agility, and stamina surged in unison. His body felt like a furnace of raw power. "Damn, that feels amazing." The captain frowned. "What's going on?" His aura just spiked. Before he could finish, Lin Xiao vanished in a blur of lightning. "He's running. Split up," the captain barked. But Lin Xiao wasn't fleeing. He was lying in ambush, crouched low among the bushes like a cunning predator. As soon as the squad spread out, he locked onto his first target, a man wielding a spear. With a burst of speed, Lin Xiao lunged from behind, kicked the man to the ground, and ripped the weapon from his grasp. The moment the spear hit his hands, confidence surged through him. Finally, with a real weapon in hand, he could now unleash the power of his skill card. Just as Lin Xiao seized the spear, another enemy spotted him. The man bellowed and activated his bronze tier skill, Tempest Break. Purple energy surged along his greatsword as he lunged forward like a raging storm. Lin Xiao didn't retreat. Power flared through his veins as energy flooded into his spear. 100 birds ascend to the phoenix. The spear blazed with radiant light. A sharp whoosh tore through the air, like the cry of 1,000 birds in the blink of an eye. Lin Xiao's strike pierced straight through the man's chest. The impact shattered the silence. Even the dust seemed frozen midair. The others arrived just in time to witness it, staring wide-eyed at the impossible. The captain's face twisted in disbelief. "An entry-level rookie, just one shot, my man." Rage replaced reason. "Kill him," he roared, unleashing his own silver tier skill. Earth Split Rampage. Blades, energy waves, and killing intent surged from every direction. Lin Xiao braced himself, spear flashing as he countered blow after blow. 100 Bird Descend was powerful, but it drained stamina like mad. Even under Rage Burst, he could only fire it twice more. Still, with each parried strike, his rage meter climbed higher and higher. "Can't keep blocking forever," he thought grimly. "Take down the captain first. Cut off the head, the body falls." The surviving adventurers could hardly believe their eyes. A rookie, an entry-level fighter, lasting this long against 3 trained combatants? Impossible. The captain frowned. He must have used some kind of forbidden boost skill. He thought short-term power surge, but once it fades, he'll be drain dry. System notification. Rage charge, 100% complete. Lin Xiao clenched his teeth, channeling every last drop of energy into his hands. "Let's end this," he roared and drove the spear forward with full force. The captain sneered, swinging his blade to block, only to hear a sharp crack as his weapon shattered under the impact. What kind of strength is this? His confidence turned into fear. Lin Xiao didn't celebrate that. He'd expected that blow alone wouldn't finish it. "Then take this." He unleashed his trump card. 100 Birds Ascend to the Phoenix, energy flaring like wings of light. The spear screamed through the air, the sound like a thunderclap. But just as the tip was about to pierce the captain's chest, the shaft began to splinter. No, Lin Xiao's only killing chance vanished before his eyes. The rage burst, timer hit 0. Power drained from his limbs. His body went cold. The captain grinned, yanking the broken spearhead from his body, crimson dripping from his armor. "You're finished, kid," He spat, thrusting his blade straight for Lin Xiu's heart. Just as the captain's blade was about to pierce Lin Xiu's chest, a blazing red beam tore through the air, forcing him to stop mid-strike. A familiar voice echoed across the ruins. Who gave you the guts to lay hands on a student of Starflare Academy? From the smoke stepped the Academy's medic, the same woman who once patched Lin Xiu up. She planted herself in front of him, eyes sharp as blades. You've got 3 seconds to disappear. I might be a healer, but I don't mind killing a few pieces of trash today. Her killing intent rolled out like a wave. The mercenaries froze, then bolted in panic. Lin Xiu stood speechless. The kind, gentle nurse was a level 4 combatant. He realized he'd never once scanned her with his analysis eye. What a fatal oversight. The medic sighed. Didn't expect this from you, kid. The so-called bottom of the class, slaying 3 first tiers and nearly taking down a second tier. You've grown. Her arrival marked the end of the A2 zone field trial. Students regrouped at the extraction point, their combat data automatically uploaded to the Academy server. The instructor reviewed the results, nodding with satisfaction. Almost everyone showed real improvement, until he frowned. Wait, where's Lin Xiu? The chubby teammate spoke up. Sir, we ran into a tier 3 serpent. Lin Xiu fell into the restricted zone. Ah, Zhang, he snorted. That loser's probably snake foo by now that can't fix stupid. The instructor slammed his tablet shut. Enough. No one dies until I see a body that will wait. But whispers rippled through the students. Wait, for what? That guy's already dead. Yeah, the Academy's biggest loser finally got what was coming. Just then, a familiar voice cut through the chatter behind them. Light, mocking, and way too calm. Who's cursing me dead already? Su Jun, looks like you forgot how it felt last time. Want me to help you remember? Everyone turned. Lin Xiu was walking out from the restricted zone, dust-covered but perfectly fine, not a scratch on him. He looked more like someone returning from a stroll than from the brink of death. The whole training ground went silent. Then the chubby guy broke into a grin, rushing over to hug him. Knew it. I knew you wouldn't die that easy, bro. Su Jun sneered. Don't get cocky, Lin Xiu. You probably hid somewhere safe and didn't even kill one beast. Zhang, he took down 8 evolved beasts all by himself. Gasps filled the air. No way, 8. That's insane. Class rep's a monster. I barely killed one and almost died doing it. Lin Xiu chuckled softly, completely unfazed. 8 tier, 1 beasts. Cute. He loosened the straps on his pack and gave it a shake that a cascade of shimmering Evo cores spilled onto the ground, glittering under the sun. So many that they piled into a small mountain of loot. The crowd went dead silent again. Instructor Luo finished counting, his voice trembling slightly. 16 tier, 1 cores, and 5 tier, 2 cores. Then he froze, staring at the last 3 crystals glowing faint violet in his palm. 3 tier, 3 cores? He muttered, barely believing his own words. The classroom fell silent. Lin Xiu's results hit harder than a slap. It shattered every trace of mockery left in the room. Zhang Yi's face twisted with disbelief. No way. That trash couldn't have pulled this off. He jabbed a finger toward Lin Xiu, shouting, Instructor Luo. He must have cheated. Instructor Luo snapped. A single tier, 3 core costs at least 4 to 500,000 credits. Which of you could drop over 1 million just to fake a few for cheating? Zhang Yi's jaw tightened, but he had no comeback. His face turned dark with humiliation. Since they weren't registered combatants yet, they couldn't sell through the Alliance exchange. The instructor explained that the tavern inside the Academy district bought beast cores for cash. When Lin Xiu laid 3 tier, 3 cores on the counter, the tavern keeper's eyes lit up like twin gold coins. Rubbing his hands together, the man grinned. 3 tier, 3S, I'll pay 500k each, cash, fair deal, right? But before Lin Xiu could answer, someone shoved him roughly aside. The newcomer was Sun Chun, a student from the elite class, ranked 108 on the Academy power list. Arrogant as ever, Sun Chun sneered. Ha! Even the loser class dares come here. What's next? Begging for scraps from real fighters. Lin Xiao didn't back down. His eyes went cold. I'll give you one chance to apologize right now. Otherwise, I'll show you exactly how it feels to get beaten up by trash. Sun Chen's expression froze. He'd never imagined a so-called bottom ranker would dare threaten him. With a furious snarl, he threw a heavy punch straight at Lin Xiao, ready to teach this nobody his place. But instead of dodging, Lin Xiao stepped forward and met the blow head-on. The moment their fists collided, a dull shockwave burst through the air. Sun Chen staggered backward several steps, cracks spiderwebbing beneath his boots. He glanced down. His knuckles were already swelling. What? His strength's higher than mine. Roaring in disbelief, he lashed out with a high kick, only for Lin Xiao to sidestep easily. In the same motion, Lin Xiao lunged forward, driving his knee straight into Sun Chen's gut. Crack! Sun Chen flew backward, blood spraying from his nose as he crashed to the ground in a heap. The crowd erupted. Let's go, Lin Xiao. Finally, someone shut that elite brat up. For the first time, the bottom class cheered louder than the elites. That blow completely enraged Sun Chen that he was done holding back. With a roar, he unleashed his bronze-tier combat skill, Explosive Fist. Dozens of shockwave punches ripped through the air, tearing up the floorboards, but not a single one hit Lin Xiao. Snarling, Sun Chen gathered every ounce of energy in his body into his right fist. Bronze combat skill, Explosive Rush. He lunged forward like a cannon shell, fist aimed straight at Lin Xiao's chest. But Lin Xiao didn't dodge. Instead, he raised his arm and caught the attack head-on. The moment their fists met, the tavern erupted. Tables shattered, dust swirled, and the walls trembled under the shockwave. Students watching from the side went pale with worry. From the elite class, Li Yuan smirked. "TCH, idiot. He's dead meat." But the next instant, Sun Chen's expression froze. Lin Xiao stood completely still. He had caught the blow without even flinching. Then, the familiar chime echoed in his ears. System notification, rage charge complete. But Lin Xiao didn't even bother to use his charge strike. He knew his own strength was more than enough to put Sun Chen in the dirt. He wanted to make an example out of him. A clear warning to anyone else thinking about picking a fight. Grabbing Sun Chen's arm, Lin Xiao twisted hard. The sound of snapping bones echoed through the tavern like dry wood cracking. The entire arm bent at an unnatural angle. Sun Chen screamed in agony. The elite class students immediately shouted and surged forward to attack. But Lin Xiao's classmates weren't backing down either. Sleeves rolled up, eyes blazing, ready for an all-out brawl. Just as chaos was about to break out, the instructor appeared and slammed a hand down on the counter. Enough! Yet the elite students instantly played the victim, claiming Lin Xiao started it. Fatty, standing beside Lin Xiao, couldn't take it anymore. He explained everything from start to finish to Teacher Luo. After hearing the truth, Teacher Luo scolded Lin Xiao with a straight face, but deep down, he was grinning. Those arrogant elite brats had been untouchable for too long. It was about time someone humbled them. Lin Xiao caught the hint, bowed exaggeratedly, and said with fake sincerity, "Sorry about that. If you need medical expenses, I'll cover it. I've got cash to spare these days." Sun Chen's face turned purple with rage. He almost coughed up blood. The whole room struggled to hold in their laughter. It wasn't the pain that hurt. It was the humiliation. The elite class instructor clearly wasn't pleased, but couldn't say much. He waved his hand and muttered, "Forget it, let's end this here." As he turned to leave, Sun Chen threw a glare over his shoulder. "Lin Xiao, I underestimated you today. Let's settle this properly at the end-of-term combat exam, if you dare to show up." Lin Xiao smirked, unfazed. "Why wouldn't I?" After they left, Instructor Luo clapped his hands. "All right, everyone. Time to check your combat power. Let's see how much progress you've made after the field training." "Here's the scale," he explained. "Combat power 300 to 600 means beginner point 600. 800 counts as trainee point 800, 1500. You're officially a first-class warrior." Fatty went first. The scanner flashed green. Combat power for 69, beginner, the device announced. Next came Zhang Yi. His result lit up as 675, earning him the title of trainee warrior. Instructor Luo grinned ear to ear. Excellent. Starting tomorrow, you can begin training with real cultivation techniques. He added, that's what separates warriors from commoners. Through cultivation, they draw in ambient energy, strengthen their bodies, bones, and cells, evolving beyond human limits. Then it was Lin Xiao's turn. He stepped forward calmly, ready to prove that the Academy's so-called bottom rank trash had finally turned into something else entirely. The scanner pulsed with bright light. For a moment, the whole room held its breath. Zhang, he stared at the screen in disbelief, his confident smile frozen midair. The numbers appeared. Combat power, 676. Lin Xiao had surpassed him by one single point. The room exploded in shock. Fatty was the first to cheer, pumping his fist. Let's go. Lin Xiao, you're insane. With two new trainee warriors in the class, Instructor Luo kept them behind that evening. Both of you are now trainees. Think carefully about your future path. Choose a weapon that matches who you want to become. Be warned, Tier 3 and above beasts have fully evolved hides. Ordinary weapons won't cut it. You need blades forged from special extraplanetary alloys to actually damage them. Lin Xiao, however, had already made his choice. Ever since unlocking the growth skill, 100 Birds Phoenix, the spear felt like the perfect match for him. Instructor Luo raised an eyebrow. A spear is the king of arms. When mastered, its power is tremendous, but it's notoriously difficult to train with as the saying goes. A year for the blade, 10 for the sword, 100 for the spear. Seeing how resolute Lin Xiao was, Luo couldn't help but ask him why he chose such a demanding weapon. Lin Xiao answered simply, among the world's top 10 fighters, there isn't a single spear user. That's where my edge will be. Luo's eyes widened. The kid's ambition showed through loud and clear. Watching Lin Xiao walk away, the instructor felt a rare pang of pride. Maybe this one wouldn't be ordinary after all. The next morning, Lin Xiao used the info card the teacher gave him and checked out basic spear techniques and introductory cultivation methods from the library. What he still lacked was a proper spear, so he headed to the school's martial armory to pick one out. The shopkeeper brought out several newly forged spears for him to test. But Lin Xiao kept finding them too light. They felt more like billiard cues than battlefield weapons. His picky testing annoyed the proprietor. The man snorted, fine, suit yourself. I have heavy ones in the back. The only question is whether you can even swing one. The spear had been sitting in the corner gathering dust. It was simply too heavy for anyone to buy. Forged from the core of a new jade ore, it weighed a staggering 69 kilograms and bore the name Silver Soul Spear. The moment Lin Xiao gripped it, he felt as if the weapon was tailor-made for him. Perfectly balanced, solid in weight, and comfortable in hand, he decided instantly, I'll take it. The shopkeeper's jaw nearly dropped. This kid really just a trainee warrior. 69 kilos, and he's twirling like a broom. But when the price came out, Lin Xiao froze. What? 1.2 million? Boss, can I pay in installments? Not a single credit less, the man replied flatly. With a heavy heart, Lin Xiao bought it anyway. Half of his hard-earned 2 million credits from selling beast cores gone in one swipe. Back at the dorm, he immediately began practicing the basic cultivation technique. Yet, during his first attempt, he felt absolutely nothing. Curious, he opened the system interface. To his surprise, every single attribute had quietly increased by +2. Suddenly, a new notification flashed, frowny face, monthly lottery. August available. Draw now. Lin Xiao slapped his forehead. He'd forgotten that the system gave one free spin every month besides normal mission rewards. He quickly hit yes, muttering, please, anything but another weapon. I literally just bought one. The pointer stopped on Rapid Growth Pack. A shimmering gift box materialized in front of him. Lin Xiao blinked. Oh, what the hell is all this? But when he saw that completing the growth objectives would reward plus 25 potential points, he grinned. All right then, let's grind this out. And so, Lin Xiu spent the entire night crawling across the academy track, dragging 1,000 pounds of training weight behind him. By now, he could barely stand upright without wobbling. Yet the so-called rapid growth program had only reached 10% completion. Just then, a soft tap landed on his shoulder from behind. Startled, Lin Xiu lost his balance and fell face first into the dirt. Frustration surged through him. He was just about to snap. Then he heard a gentle, worried voice. "Brother Lin Xiu, are you okay? Are you sick or something?" Lin Xiu finally realized that the girl was none other than his childhood friend, Yi Shuanger, whom he hadn't seen in 2 years since high school. Her teacher had brought her to tour the academy ahead of the college entrance exams. As the two chatted happily, a teasing voice came from behind. Well, Shuanger, so this is the Lin Xiu you always talk about? I heard the bottom-ranked loser at Xingyao Academy is also named Lin Xiu. Don't tell me that's him." Shuanger's face darkened instantly. "Tang Ping, what's that supposed to mean?" Tang Ping smirked with jealousy. "Relax, I just want to spar with your senior. He's 2 years older, right? Or is he too scared to fight me?" Lin Xiu couldn't believe a punk kid like this dared to provoke him. And worse, tried to humiliate him right in front of Shuanger. Though weighed down by 1,000 pounds, every breath heavy, Lin Xiu stood his ground. He showed no fear and said coldly, "Come on then, let's see what you've got." Tang Ping activated his bronze tier technique, Dust Palm, channeling his energy into both hands. With blinding speed, he lunged toward Lin Xiu. Normally, Lin Xiu could have dodged easily, but with the crushing weight on his body, all he could do was take the blow head-on. One of Tang Ping's lackeys laughed mockingly. "Brother Tang's almost a quasi-warrior. That trash is done for." But Shuanger clenched her fists, eyes firm. "Brother Lin Xiu won't lose." Tang Ping frowned. His strikes had forced Lin Xiu back, but they couldn't knock him down. Determined to show off in front of Shuanger, he decided to go all out, even if it meant crippling Lin Xiu. Yet, the moment his palm struck, Lin Xiu's hand shot up, gripping Tang Ping's arm in a vice, stopping it dead in midair. Lin Xiu's face went cold. "Don't you know the rule? Those who kill are killed. Consider this your lesson, senior." Tang Ping realized his mistake too late. He didn't even have a chance to beg. Lin Xiu wrenched his arm, and it snapped under the pressure. Then Lin Xiu kicked him, sending him flying across the courtyard. Tang Ping spat blood and fury. "I'll kill you for this," he snarled. Lin Xiu barely registered the threat. He hadn't noticed another furious figure charging up from behind. By the time he reacted, the man's fist was already descending. The blow landed with brutal force, blasting Lin Xiu several meters away. The attacker was Tang Ping's older brother, Tang Tan, ranked number 100 on the Academy Power List, a trainee-level warrior and vice president of the Boxing Association. Tang Tian launched another flurry of attacks, roaring, "You broke my brother's arm. I'll tear your limbs apart." Weighed down by the 1,000-pound training load, Lin Xiu knew he couldn't hope to outmatch a fellow trainee in straight combat, nor could he dodge all the strikes. At that critical moment, Shuanger suddenly stepped forward, spreading her slender arms to block him. "Don't you dare hurt brother Lin Xiu," she cried. Tang Tian, however, had no intention of showing mercy just because she was a girl. His fist was already swinging straight towards Shuanger's face. In that instant, Lin Xiu shoved her out of the way. The blow landed squarely on his own chest. Blood burst from Lin Xiu's mouth. His body went limp as he crashed to the ground. Tang Tian stepped on his arm with a cruel grin. "Still trying to play the hero? I'll cripple you myself." The pressure on Lin Xiu's arm increased until the sound of cracking bone echoed through the hall. Yet Tang Tian wasn't done. He lifted his foot again, aiming straight for Lin Xiu's groin. Thankfully, a teacher intervened just in time, blocking the vicious strike. When the instructor demanded an explanation, Tang Tian barely looked fazed, his arrogance written all over his face. He sneered at Lin Xiu, "Watch your back, trash. One of these days you'll wind up dead." But instead of fear, Lin Xiu's eyes blazed with defiance. 3 days from now, he said, "We settle this in the arena." Professor Luo's face paled. Are you insane, Lin Xiao? The arena duel is a fight to the death. He'll kill you. Schwanger's expression was filled with worry as she pleaded with him not to do it. But Lin Xiao had already made up his mind. He glared at Tang Tian and said coldly, the question is, do you dare? Tang Tian's eyes darkened with rage, but he silently vowed to cripple Lin Xiao in front of the entire academy. Within hours, the news spread across the campus like wildfire. The so-called academy's weakest had challenged a genius. Everyone was eager to watch the spectacle. Meanwhile, Lin Xiao went to the infirmary to treat his broken arm. The nurse, better known as the clinic sister, brought out the best healing potion and gently applied it to his wounds. When she heard he was going to fight Tang Tian in a life-or-death duel, she handed him a bronze tier skill card, Explosive Fist. It was one of the fiercest close combat techniques. A punch so powerful it created a sonic blast, but training it risked tearing tendons and shredding muscles. No one else dared to learn it. Yet the nurse also gave him a vial of recovery elixir. You'll need this if you want to live through it, she said. Lin Xiao was moved to tears by her kindness. Then, with a teasing smile, she lifted his chin. You'll be mine sooner or later, little brother. I can't have you dying before that. For 3 straight days and nights, Lin Xiao trained relentlessly until his fist could blast shockwaves through the air. His grueling effort pushed him to level 11, though the rapid growth system progress bar was still lagging behind. Even after adapting to the 1,000-pound load, he estimated he could only fight at about 80% of his full strength. The next day, both fighters stood at the center of the arena. The crowd roared with chants for Tang Tian, the academy's golden boy. As the duel began, Tang Tian wasted no time. His first strike was a killing blow. His longsword flared with crimson energy, slicing toward Lin Xiao with terrifying speed. Lin Xiao spun his spear, redirecting the force in a graceful arc, nullifying the deadly strike with effortless precision. The sword aura sliced across Lin Xiao's neck, leaving a thin line of blood. Tang Tian smirked. You can't block my sword. You never could. He unleashed a flurry of strikes, each faster and sharper than the last. Lin Xiao parried every blow, but the swirling blade energy kept shredding his clothes and skin. Blood dripped from his face. He looked battered, almost defeated. But Tang Tian knew the truth. Those were only surface wounds. His attacks hadn't cut deep enough to end it. Let's finish this, Tang Tian roared, channeling his silver tier martial art, Flame Impact. The crimson blaze engulfed his sword, radiating heat so intense it warped the air. Lin Xiao clenched his jaw. He knew he couldn't block that head-on, and his rage charge wasn't ready yet. His plan had been to chain rage charge and 100 birds ascend the phoenix, but now he had no choice but to fire early. His spear ignited, wreathed in elemental fire, the tip glowing like molten steel. The two forces collided, Flame Impact versus Phoenix Spear, and the world exploded with light. Boom! The blast hurled Lin Xiao across the arena, carving a crater into the ground. Tang Tian stood unmoved, his uniform barely scorched, a single scratch marking his shoulder. The clash was over, and the verdict was clear. Lin Xiao had lost this exchange. Yet, to everyone's shock, he grinned through the dust, sitting up as if nothing had happened. Then the familiar system chime echoed in his mind. System notification, fast growth program, complete, plus 25 potential points acquired. Rage gauge 100% full. Would you like to activate Charge Strike? Lin Xiao exhaled, relief washing over him. He poured 21 points into strength and 4 into constitution, feeling raw power surge through his veins. Then, with one motion, he unclasped the 1,000-gene weighted vest on his shoulders. It hit the ground with a thunderous crash, the entire arena trembling. His gaze turned razor-sharp, his aura swelling like a storm. That was just the warm-up, he said coldly. Now begins the real fight. Tang Tian froze in disbelief. He was wearing weights this whole time. You mocking me, brat? Tang Tian snarled. Then die for your arrogance. He slashed forward. only for his blade to slice through an afterimage. His pupils shrank in shock. With the burden gone, Lin Xiao's speed and strength had skyrocketed to a new tier entirely. The next clash shattered Tang Tian's broadsword, fragments bursting like sparks. From the stands, instructor Luo gasped. That kid, once the weights came off, he turned into a monster. Lin Xiao spun his spear, the weapon blazing with fiery aura, arcs of flame coiling around him like living serpents. With a roar, he thrust forward, charged strike, and 100 birds ascend the phoenix detonated together, the fusion blast lighting up the entire arena. Tang Tian unleashed his full might, but Lin Xiao's spear cut straight through it like a thunderbolt. The flaming spear tip tore the air apart, shattering Tang Tian's attack in an instant. His broadsword lasted barely half a second before splitting clean in two. Tang Tian was lifted off his feet and sent crashing several meters away. The entire arena went dead silent. He actually defeated a top 100-ranked fighter. Coughing blood, Tang Tian clutched his chest, humiliation twisting his face. Beaten by a so-called bottom feeder? Impossible. In a fit of rage, he pulled out a vial of forbidden serum. The moment he drank it, his veins bulged, muscles ballooning grotesquely. Within seconds, he had transformed into a monstrous, muscle-bound beast. His eyes turned crimson. "I'll tear you apart," he snarled. Then came the roar of power. Tang Tian activated his bronze combat skill, collapsing fist. The punch detonated the ground itself, sending shockwaves that carved a crater into the arena floor. Lin Xiao rolled aside, just in time, the blast skimming his shoulder. He sprang up, counterattacking with a sweeping spear strike. But Tang Tian caught the spear in his bare hands, his grip like iron clamps. The difference in raw strength was overwhelming. Lin Xiao couldn't even pull the weapon free. With a savage kick, Tang Tian sent him flying backward. Before Lin Xiao could recover, Tang Tian hurled the spear like a javelin. Boom! It slammed into the arena floor, splitting stone and soil apart. The spear came flying straight toward his chest, but midair, Lin Xiao twisted his body, clenching his fist tight. "Explosive fist!" he roared, hurling his punch forward. The impact detonated like a cannon. His strike blasted the incoming spear off course, saving him by a hair's breadth. Instructor Luo's face went pale. That bastard Tang Tian, he's overdrawing his life just to win. The duel was no longer fair, it was pure madness. Yet Tang Tian's mentor merely sneered. There's no rule saying you can't use enhancers during a combat trial. The principal hesitated, then nodded, permission granted. After all, the Tang family were major shareholders of Starflare Academy, and with the Tang patriarch himself watching from the stands, who dared oppose him? The referee swallowed hard, then raised his voice. The match continues. Unarmed, Lin Xiao was immediately pummeled by Tang Tian's monstrous fists, forced backward under a barrage of blows. But this time, he wasn't the weakling they all remembered. System alert, skill available, frowny face, berserk mode, duration, 10 minutes. Strength plus 200% speed plus 200% vitality plus 150% that activate. Why yes. A red aura burst from Lin Xiao's body. His next punch collided with Tang Tian's like two meteors crashing. The shockwave ripped across the arena. Spectators stared, dumbfounded. Lin Xiao was going toe-to-toe with a drug-amped Tang Tian and holding his ground. Tang Tian's technique, bronze skill, collapsing fist, was said to shatter mountains, yet it couldn't crush Lin Xiao. Freed from the 1,000-gene weight and boosted by raw potential, Lin Xiao's fists moved faster, sharper, heavier. Each punch cracked the air like thunder. His mastery over explosive fist was evolving in real time, pushing him closer and closer to dominance. Even facing an opponent that looked unstoppable, Lin Xiao didn't flinch. True power, he believed, didn't come from drugs or bloodlines. It came from one's own fists. He dodged Tang Tian's collapsing strike, pivoted sharply, and countered with an explosive fist aimed straight for the chest. Tang Tian sneered, not even bothering to defend. "My skin's tougher than steel." Your flashy punches can't even scratch me. Lin Xiu smirked. Who said I was aiming for your skin? Crack. A muffled explosion echoed from inside Tang Tian's arm. His left arm went limp, veins bursting under the shock that it was completely crippled. The match's outcome was already decided. Yet Tang Tian refused to accept defeat that he roared, drawing a dagger and lunging forward like a mad beast. Lin Xiu's eyes turned cold. You want death? I'll oblige. But just as he moved, a pair of hands glowing with terrifying energy burst into view. Boom! Lin Xiu was smashed across the arena, tumbling several meters before hitting the ground. A deep voice followed. How dare you harm the bloodline of my Tang family? The one who struck Tang Mubai, patriarch of the Tang clan himself. Instructor Luo stepped between them, shouting, Clan head Tang, this is a sanctioned duel. Both participants signed a life and death pact. Tang Mubai simply snorted, his gaze like a blade. Boy, I'll remember you. The duel was over. Though the outcome was clear, Lin Xiu had won. The price of that victory would echo far beyond the arena. The next morning, Instructor Luo knocked on Lin Xiu's dorm room door. His expression was serious. I've got one good news and one bad. The bad news, he said, is that the academy has decided to punish you. Lin Xiu frowned. Punish me? I was the one who got beaten. How's that fair? Luo sighed. You nearly killed Tang Tian in front of the entire academy. For people like the Tang family, that's not just defeat, it's humiliation. They pressured the academy, claiming you bullied their middle school kid Tang Ping. The board caved in. Your punishment, Luo continued, is to join the Starshine City military in the annual Bright Fortress Purge, a live battlefield crawling with evolved beasts and zombies. The casualty rate there is 70%. But instead of fear, Lin Xiu's eyes lit up. 70% death rate. That means plenty of EXP. He grinned. Count me in. Luo smiled helplessly. And the good news, you've officially entered the top 100 academy ranking. The reward is a silver tier spear technique card. Rainstorm Piercer, capable of launching 100 thrusts in 1 second. Lin Xiu imagined it instantly. Phantom spears raining down like a storm, enemies torn apart before they could even blink. Damn, that's cool. Luo patted his shoulder. You've got potential, kid, but remember, come back alive. Lin Xiu nodded firmly, his gaze steady. Don't worry, teacher, I'll return stronger than ever. Later that day, Lin Xiu went into Starshine City to buy a new set of Academy combat gear. He didn't expect an ambush, waiting for him the moment he turned into a narrow alley. 5 low-ranked martial fighters stepped out of the shadows, their blades gleaming coldly. Without saying a word, they rushed him all at once. Lin Xiu moved like a shadow, slipping through their attacks with effortless agility. He countered with a burst fist, his strike cracking through one attacker's arm like dry wood. The man screamed in agony. Lin Xiu's eyes went cold. Those who kill, he said softly, will be killed in turn. His next punch exploded the man's skull, painting the alley walls red. The remaining 4 panicked. No one dared to go in alone. They attacked together in desperation. But to Lin Xiu now, first-tier fighters were nothing more than children throwing tantrums. Each punch dropped one like a rag doll. 2 survivors bolted, terrified beyond reason. Lin Xiu smirked, sent by the Tang family. Huh. Only 5 of you. Guess they're still underestimating me. Meanwhile, inside the luxurious Tang estate, a well-dressed matriarch slammed her jeweled palm against the table. Idiots, she shouted. 5 first-tier fighters against 1 novice. And they still lost 3. Are you all brain dead? Her crimson nails dug into the wood as she hissed. That boy Lin Xiu will rot in the gutter before I'm done with him. Tang Mubai waved his hand dismissively. I've already pressured the academy, he said coldly. Lin Xiu will be sent to the Bright Fortress extermination mission. He smirked. The death rate, there is 70% that I wouldn't mind making a little higher. The next morning, Lin Xiu arrived at Bright Fortress, the air heavy with gun oil and killing intent. Because his strength hadn't officially reached the warrior threshold, the surrounding soldiers laughed at him the moment he showed up. Their jeers stopped only when the instructor's voice cut through the air. Anyone who opens their mouth again, 100 push-ups each. Later, aboard the transport aircraft, those same soldiers still hadn't let it go. They had the metal case by Lin Xiu's feet. Curiosity glinting in their eyes, Point One reached out to pry it open. Lin Xiu's hand came down over the lid. "Didn't your mother teach you what curiosity does?" he said quietly. He leaned closer, his tone sharper. "It kills the cat." "Tsh," the man sneered, yanking the case away. "Cut the tough guy act, that let's see what's inside." But the instant he lifted it, his face froze, whatever was in their way to Tan. Lin Xiu kicked the case upward in one smooth motion. A flash of silver burst out as the silver soul spear shot from the box. Lin Xiu caught it midair, the spearhead glinting inches from the man's forehead. "Forgot to mention," Lin Xiu said coolly, "Silver soul doesn't draw breath unless it tastes blood." The aura that poured from him froze the man in place. He couldn't even breathe. Lin Xiu sighed, almost disappointed. So this is what passes for a first-tier warrior. Pathetic. Humiliated, the man roared and threw a punch straight at him. Lin Xiu moved like lightning. His fist slammed into the soldier's jaw, sending a tooth spinning through the air. The man staggered back, clutching his face, but stubbornly tried to lunge again. Enough! The instructor's roar cut through the chaos like thunder. He glared at the man. "Jin Hai, you call yourself a warrior? Getting dropped by a high schooler who hasn't even awakened. You're a damn embarrassment." The instructor snorted. "Save your energy that you'll need it to stay alive once we hit the bright fortress." Minutes later, the transport aircraft touched down at the fortress's frontline base. The three instructors were immediately dispatched to the core zone to deal with high-tier mutated beasts. The rest were split into 4 10-man squads, each led by a captain, and ordered to enter through the southern gate. Lin Xiu's squad drew the task of sweeping the abandoned town for zombies and low-tier mutants. At first, it was easy work, just a few first-tier zombies, slow and weak. But as they pressed deeper, the streets grew darker and faster, stronger tier. 2 zombies began to appear. Jin Hai, still nursing his bruised pride, charged in recklessly with his battle axe. The zombies lunged with terrifying speed, far beyond what they had faced before. By the time Jin Hai realized his mistake, it was already too late. A streak of silver flashed behind him. Lin Xiu's spear pierced clean through the zombie's skull, saving his life in the nick of time. Jin Hai finally realized who had saved him. It was Lin Xiu, the very guy he used to mock. Feeling ashamed, he muttered, "Thanks." But Lin Xiu didn't even respond. He dashed straight into the horde. After all, every zombie was nothing but walking XP in his eyes. His spear blurred through the air, slicing and thrusting with precise, lethal movements. His teammates could only stare in awe. "How the hell is he stronger than us tier? 1 warriors?" one of them gasped. The squad leader barked, "Quit gawking. These are tier 2 zombies, stay sharp." She charged forward, her blade flashing, leading the others back into the fray. With everyone working together, the front line began to stabilize, cutting down wave after wave of zombies. But then, a thunderous roar shattered the brief calm, echoing through the ruined streets. Lin Xiu's expression hardened. "That's the leader zombie. It's calling the others." Before anyone could react, heavy footsteps and guttural growls filled the air. Within seconds, they were surrounded by a swarm of the undead. The captain shouted, "Don't panic. Keep your distance and open fire." Gunfire erupted, muzzle flashes painting the night red. Lin Xiu fought like a machine, mowing down the undead as his XP counter kept ticking higher. Then the system chimed. Level up, level 12 achieved. Combat power, 800 at Lin Xiu had officially become a tier 1 warrior. Close range combat now. The captain yelled. She drew her blade, the edge gleaming coldly. With a fierce shout, she unleashed her technique. Rending slash, a crescent wave of energy that split through the oncoming horde. Her attack reignited everyone's morale. The squad roared and charged in unison. And at the very front, Lin Xiu, eyes burning, spears spinning that TO him. This was paradise. Endless enemies, endless XP. He tore through the zombies like a blazing storm, clearing an entire lane within seconds. But their numbers were overwhelming. The captain shouted, "Fall back! To that building, move!" They retreated while fighting. The first soldier through the door yelled, "A roll-down gate! We can seal it!" To keep the horde from reaching the gate before it shut, the captain ordered, "Lin Xiao, get inside first. I'll cover the rear." But Lin Xiao shoved her toward the doorway instead. "Hey, what are you doing?" she shouted. Lin Xiao grinned. "Sorry, Captain, I've got a rule. Ladies don't cover my retreat." On the surface, it looked like a gallant move in truth, he just didn't want anyone stealing his XP. Drawing a deep breath, he gathered flames around his weapon. A heartbeat later, Phoenix Ascension erupted. The air ignited, the spears blaze, sweeping through the street like a firestorm. Every zombie within sight was engulfed. Even those further away burned to ash. His teammates froze, jaws slack at the sheer power of his attack. "Lin Xiao, get your ass in here!" Someone yelled, but the metal shutter was already denting under the pounding of hundreds of undead. Seconds later, the gate gave way with a screech, and the horde poured through. Lin Xiao winced. Damn it, cheap imports that should have gone with local steel. Thankfully, there was another gate, a heavy iron bar door at the top of the stairs. The squad rushed up and slammed it shut, sealing themselves on the second floor. The air upstairs was damp and cold, thick with decay that it was clear this place wasn't safe either. As they climbed, a foul, rotten stench hit them like a wall. In the corner sat a corpse, wrapped tightly in webbing like a human cocoon. When they looked up, their blood ran cold. Spiderwebs draped across the ceiling, and several dried husks dangled silently overhead. One of the soldiers whispered nervously, "Don't tell me this place has mutant spiders." Before he could even finish, a dark blur dropped right onto his shoulder. "Get it off!" someone yelled, slamming the thing away with his rifle, but it hit the floor, a small, black spider, barely the size of a fist. "Level 1 variant," someone muttered, relieved. "Looks weak." But that relief lasted exactly 2 seconds. The ceiling began to move. Hundreds of black shapes poured out from every crack and shadow, and a tide of spiders came crashing down. "Fall back! Upstairs!" The captain's voice broke through the panic as everyone bolted toward the third floor. But when they reached it, their hearts sank. This level was a nest, too. Gunfire roared, blades flashed, flames burst. Chaos filled the narrow hallways as they fought their way upward. At last, they burst through a door that led to the rooftop. "Everyone up now!" The captain slammed the iron door behind them and locked it tight. The team collapsed against the walls, panting, covered in grime and spider ichor. Lin Xiao leaned over the rooftop edge. Down below, the zombies that had surrounded the building were starting to drift away, confused. But then, howls out a pack of Tier 2 Fanghounds charged out from a nearby alley. To everyone's shock, the beasts began fighting the zombies, ripping them apart. Lin Xiao frowned. Why the hell are they attacking each other? Aren't they both infected species? The captain's eyes lit up with realization. That's it. The hounds are drawing the zombies off the building. She tightened her grip on her weapon. This is our chance to break out. Everyone, get ready to move. Move out. Break the perimeter first, then resume the sweep, the captain barked. The squad regrouped, boots pounding down the blood-slick stairwell. But their noise didn't go unnoticed. The Fanghounds had locked onto them again. The Tier 2 hounds lunged first, but the squad cut them down in a storm of bullets and blades. Within seconds, the hallway fell silent. That silence didn't last, that a low growl rolled through the rubble. From a smoke stepped a beast 3 times the size of the others, a corpse dangling from its jaws. Its crimson eyes gleamed with murderous intent. The Fanghound King had arrived, then vanished. In the blink of an eye, it reappeared right in front of Soldier. Thinking it was just another hound, the man swung his blade. Clang! The weapon bent like tin against the beast's hide. "What the?" he gasped, before the hound's jaws clamped down, tearing his arm clean off in a spray of blood. "You bastard!" the captain roared. I'll split you in half. She unleashed her LV.5 skill, Rift Slash, cleaving the air itself apart. But the Fanghound King was too fast. It blurred past the attack, a streak of muscle and fury. In the next instant, it lunged straight for her throat, its fangs gleaming crimson under the firelight. At the very last second, Lin Xiu burst through the haze of smoke, his silver soul spear blazing crimson as it pierced straight into the Fanghound's gut, saving the captain just in time. He spun the spear and unleashed a rapid flurry of thrusts, each one striking like thunder. But the creature's hide was as hard as steel, barely letting the spear sink in. Damn, tough bastard. Fine, let's see you tank this. Lin Xiu growled. He gathered every ounce of rage and strength into the weapon's tip. Charge strike, activated. Flames and raw energy spiraled together. The spear roared like a cannon, drilling into the beast's abdomen before Lin Xiu shouted and wrenched upward, sending the massive Fanghound crashing to the ground in a cloud of dust and debris. But Lin Xiu didn't lower his guard. The system hadn't issued a kill prompt. Sure enough, blood energy erupted from the beast's body. Its eyes glowed blood red, auras surging like a storm. The Fanghound suddenly unleashed its hidden ability, Bloodlust Pounce. Its form blurred, a crimson aura bursting outward as it lunged with killing intent. Lin Xiu was too slow to dodge. He was sent flying several meters, smashing into a concrete wall with a heavy crash. The Fanghound went berserk, veins glowing red, jaws dripping with blood as it roared in blind fury. It charged again, faster than before, its claws tearing up the asphalt beneath it. Enough of this crap, Lin Xiu growled, forcing himself to stand. You think I'm scared of you? Flames erupted around him like wings of a phoenix. 100 birds to the phoenix, activated in full power. His spear blazed a trail of fire through the air and met the Fanghound head-on. The explosion that followed rocked the entire block, flames swallowing everything in sight. System notification: frowny face target eliminated. Tier 3 Fanghound King. EXP plus 8,000. Lin Xiu barely had time to breathe when a sudden growl rose from the rubble. A Tier 2 zombie leapt from the shadows, landing beside the Fanghound's corpse. It plunged its hand straight into the beast's skull and ripped out a glowing crimson evolution core. Without hesitation, the zombie shoved it into its mouth and bit down hard. A low rumble shook the air as its muscles bulged. Veins turned black, and its aura spiked. The thing was evolving, right before everyone's eyes. Lin Xiu never expected zombies could evolve using evolution cores. If that thing completed its transformation into a Tier 3 zombie lord, it'd be a nightmare. Without hesitation, he dashed forward, determined to strike before the evolution finished. The Tier 2 zombie's flesh began to harden like steel, dark crimson sigils crawling across its body as its mutation accelerated. Even 100 birds to the phoenix could only knock it back temporarily. The thing's defense was monstrous, but the skill drained stamina like crazy. He couldn't spam it for long. Surrounded by an endless horde, Lin Xiu needed something faster, deadlier, a clean sweep. That's when he pulled out the silver rank skill card, Rainstorm Pear Blossom. And right there, surrounded by hundreds of undead, he started learning it. Is this guy insane? Someone yelled from behind. He's studying a skill card right now? The zombies lunged in all at once. Lin Xiu's eyes snapped open, glowing silver. System activation: frowny face, Rainstorm Pear Blossom. His spear blurred into a storm of strikes, silver arcs flashing faster than sight, tearing through the horde and forcing them back in waves. Only 3 thrusts per second, he muttered, unsatisfied. Not fast enough again. His movements grew sharper, cleaner, each repetition pushing the technique toward mastery. The squad behind him felt their blood boil. Can't let some high schooler outshine us, the captain shouted. Maybe we can't beat that monster kid, but hell, we can still fight. Lin Xiu's madness was contagious. His reckless charge lit a fire in everyone's hearts. We're not letting a high schooler outshine us, the captain roared. Move it, people, fight like you mean it. "We may not match that monster," another shouted, "but we sure as hell ain't backing down." Lin Xiao's spear blurred into motion. 5 thrusts per second, every strike a streak of firelight. The lesser undead around him fell like wheat before the scythe. He launched forward like a meteor, spear first, straight toward the zombie lord. Clang, clang, clang. Every thrust met resistance. The creature deflected them all. It had fully completed its evolution. Its power might not rival the tier 3 Fong Hound, but its defense was absurd, skin like forged armor. None of Lin Xiao's attacks could pierce it. "If I don't end this fast," he thought grimly, "it'll keep summoning reinforcements, and we'll all be torn apart." Skill activated. Berserk. A crimson aura exploded from his body, heat distorting the air around him. "If you can take the normal rainstorm pear blossom," he growled, "then let's see you survive the berserk version." The upgraded rainstorm pear blossom berserk mode roared to life, each strike carrying concussive force and flaming trails. Flesh tore, black ichor sprayed. In that instant, Lin Xiao and his spear moved as one, a seamless extension of will and fury. His perception sharpened, instincts accelerating. Every motion, every thrust felt perfect. Lin Xiao thrust his spear forward. One clean motion, no wasted energy. The air split apart with a thunderous boom as the zombie lord froze in place. It was just one strike, but it carried more power than his previous 5 combined. The explosion flared behind him as he stood tall, back to the blast. "Real men," he muttered with a grin, "don't look back at explosions." System notice, Tier 3 Zombie Lord eliminated. The back-to-back kills of 2 Tier 3 monsters shot his level straight to 13. Plus all potential points allocated. Strength plus 20. Let's finish this. Wipe them all out. With their teamwork in full sync, the last of the undead fell, leaving only mangled corpses and the stench of blood hanging in the smoky air. The squad leader wiped the grime from her cheek and stared at Lin Xiao. That final strike. How did you do that? It was the same technique, but the power, it skyrocketed. Lin Xiao hesitated. I didn't think that, I just moved. For that one instant, he could feel his heartbeat pulsing through the spear. Man and weapon as one. The captain's eyes widened. Wait, don't tell me you actually comprehended an ultimate art? In this world, ultimate arts were the peak evolution of any skill. Even a lowly bronze technique, once awakened, could hit with the force of a silver tier, sometimes even grazing gold tier power. But to reach that state required more than practice. That IT demanded life or death experience, deep understanding, and a spark of sheer luck, something only a handful of fighters ever touched. Lin Xiao's pulse quickened. His grip tightened on the silver soul spear as a grin tugged at his lips. If I really awakened the rainstorm pear blossom's ultimate form, then I just crossed into gold tier territory. The team decided to camp on the rooftop for the night. They roasted chunks of the tier 3 Fanghound's meat over a small fire, letting the smell drift through the ruined air. As Lin Xiao chewed the smoky meat, his thoughts drifted to his little girlfriend back home. Casually, he asked the captain, "Hey, have you ever heard of a place called the Sanctuary?" The captain glanced over and said, "You mean the Sanctuary Academy? That's one of the elite warrior schools. Every student there is a genius, strong enough to stand out even among the best. Their admission requirement is insane that high school graduates have to reach Tier 2 warrior level just to qualify." Lin Xiao smirked. Tier 2. For someone with a system like his, it was only a matter of time that he couldn't help but wonder. When he finally reached that level, what kind of expression would that icy girl make when she saw him again? By dawn, the squad was back on the move. Their mission: clear out the central zone of all remaining zombies and mutated beasts. Once that was done, the operation would finally be over. Just as the squad was getting ready to move, someone spotted movement on the skyscraper's outer wall. Something was slowly crawling upward. It was a Tier 2 crawler zombie. Jinhai immediately pulled out his gun, eager to shoot. Lin Xiao shouted, "Don't fire!" But it was already too late. The crawler, which had seemed sluggish a second ago, snapped its head around with lightning speed, dodging the bullet with inhuman agility. Everyone froze in shock. The creature had been pretending to move slowly, baiting them like a predator playing dumb. That single gunshot echoed through the ruins, drawing in a swarm of crawlers from every direction. The team raised their rifles and opened fire. Bullets ripped through the air, forcing several zombies back before they could reach the wall. But the crawlers were too fast. Within seconds, they were right in front of them. The captain swung her blade, slicing one clean in half, and the rooftop instantly devolved into chaotic close-quarters combat. Suddenly, a crawler dropped straight from above. Its fangs sank deep into Adong's shoulder before anyone could react. The captain moved to help, but it was too late. Dozens more crawlers were closing in from every direction. The fight quickly turned desperate. They had to fend off attacks from both the ground and the ceiling. "Fall back to open ground," Lin Xiu shouted. "They can't drop on us if there's nothing above." The team sprinted through the ruined streets until they reached an abandoned garden plaza. But there, dozens more crawlers surrounded them in every direction. "If you don't want to die here, fight like hell," the captain roared. Without tall buildings to leap from, the crawlers were suddenly much less terrifying. After a brutal skirmish, the team finally wiped them all out, barely standing from exhaustion. Lin Xiu exhaled, reaching for his canteen. A flash of steel suddenly sliced toward his back. An ambush. He ducked in the nick of time, the blade grazing past his ear. The attacker didn't flee. Instead, he stood his ground, surrounded but grinning. "My target's him," the man growled, pointing straight at Lin Xiu. "Move, or die where you stand." "He's a soldier of the Federation," the captain shouted. "Lay a hand on him, and you're declaring war on all of us." The man sneered, unconcerned. He thought she was asking for death, and unleashed an attack. The captain didn't flinch. She immediately countered with her technique, Sky Splitter Slash. The two strikes collided midair, and a shockwave sent the captain flying several meters before she crashed to the ground. Her teammates, furious at the sight, quickly surrounded the man with weapons raised, ready to avenge their captain. But in the next instant, the man activated a silver tier skill, Cyclone Reaver. A violent gale erupted, the force of the wind pressure pinning everyone in place so they could not advance. "He's strong, at least a tier 3 warrior," Lin Xiu realized, alarmed. Not wanting to drag his comrades down, he turned and sprinted down the alley. The man laughed, mocking, "Coward, running off and leaving your teammates to die?" His expression snapped into a snarl. "You think you can run away?" After they disappeared, the team exchanged uneasy looks and asked, "Who was that guy?" The captain gritted her teeth and steadied herself, voice grave. "He's powerful. Lin Xiu might not be a match for him." Jean Hai said anxiously, "What are we waiting for?" Lin Xiu drew that guy away to protect us. The captain tightened her grip on her blade, fury in her eyes. "Anyone who dares touch my soldiers will pay the price." Lin Xiu had successfully baited the man into a secluded alley. The man snarled, "Where do you think you're going, kid?" Lin Xiu's lips curled into a faint smile. "Who said I'm running? I just wanted a quiet place to finish you." The man flushed with fury at the taunt. "Arrogant brat. Just you wait, and I'll rip you to shreds." Lin Xiu knew full well this man had been sent by the Tang family to kill him. That grudge was carved into his memory. But first, he had to deal with the one standing before him. He lunged forward with his spear, thrusting sharply, only to pierce nothing but air. The man's eyes widened. He could hardly believe the sheer speed of that strike. The killing intent that burst from Lin Xiu in that instant was so sharp, it made even a tier 3 warrior flinch. Lin Xiu frowned. His opponent's movements were too strange to is that a body technique skill, he wondered. They clashed again, and Lin Xiu narrowly avoided the dagger, slashing for his throat. As he ducked low, he twisted his body and drew his spear upward. The sudden upward strike caught the man completely off guard. But to Lin Xiu's surprise, the man dodged backward with lightning speed. "Not bad, kid," he sneered, "but you're still far from enough." In a blink, The man leapt high into the air. His silver tier combat art, falling petals slash, unleashed a storm of blades raining down from above. Lin Xiao's eyes narrowed. That move, it looks familiar. The cascading arcs of steel reminded him of his own rainstorm spear flurry, though he quickly noticed some of those slashes were illusions, not real strikes. He immediately countered, his spear flashing as he unleashed Rainstorm's spear flurry, forcing the wave of blades back in a violent collision. The impact exploded with a deafening roar, both fighters skidding apart across the alley floor. The man smirked. I saw that move when you took down the crawlers. Impressive trick, turning one thrust into four. Too bad it won't work on me. Lin Xiao surged forward again, unleashing another Rainstorm spear flurry. The man roared in defiance, activating his own technique, Twin Fong Assault. I told you, he spat. It's useless against me. In the next instant, his dagger plunged deep into Lin Xiao's arm. Looks like I win this round, he sneered, twisting the blade. Lin Xiao met his gaze, eyes sharp and unyielding. Not necessarily. The man froze. Then his expression twisted in shock. Blood was seeping through his chest. Impossible! I dodged all four of your thrusts. Lin Xiao's lips curled into a grin. Who said I only strike 4 times a second? The 5th one was for you. The man's jaw clenched. You, bastard. Before he could finish, his body collapsed lifelessly to the ground. The familiar chime echoed in his ears. You've slain a tier 3 warrior. Experience gained. 120,000. Congratulations, host. Level 14 achieved. Lin Xiao hadn't expected to level up again so quickly. His stamina and vitality surged back, but the twin stab wounds still refused to stop bleeding. Then, someone called his name from afar. When he saw his teammates running toward him, relief finally softened his gaze. But his body had already reached its absolute limit. The moment his tension eased, his vision blurred, and he collapsed to the ground. When Lin Xiao came to, his entire body was wrapped in bandages. He looked more like a mummy than a man. Pushing himself upright, he stepped out of the tent into the bright, forgiving sunlight. There stood the squad captain, holding a steaming bowl of porridge, offering it to him with a faint smile. In that moment, warmth spread through his chest. After days of fighting side by side, the squad had come to respect Lin Xiao deeply. Their captain told him to rest for the night. Once he'd healed, they'd resume the purge. A month later, the team finally completed the mission to clear out the central zone. If it weren't for you, the captain admitted with a tired smile, we'd all be corpses by now. The others laughed, clapping Lin Xiao on the back. They no longer saw him as a student, but as a brother in arms. Just then, a cloud of dust rose in the distance. Several rough-looking men were approaching fast, their intent anything but friendly. The leader sneered. Looks like you've had a good hunt. How about we hold on to some of that for you? The captain snapped back, her tone sharp as steel. You've got some nerve. You know we're Federation soldiers, and you still dare to rob us? Lin Xiao activated his analysis, eye quickly scanning the arrival stats. There were 5 tier 1 fighters among them, and one stood out, a tier 3 warrior with a combat power of 1,891. The scar-faced leader barked, enough talk, cut the crap. He pointed at Lin Xiao, voice cold. I want the kid. The rest are yours. The captain's eyes widened. She finally recognized the scarred MNIT was Lone Wolf Zhou Diaoyu. He once wiped out an entire battalion by himself. Even her own comrades had died under his blade. And oh wonder they dared to rob a federal squad without hesitation. Zhou's killing intent radiated like a storm. Slaughtering your so-called federal soldiers? He sneered. To me, it's no different from butchering dogs. It was clear now. The Tang family had spared no expense to take revenge on Lin Xiao. Not long ago, he'd killed the tier 3 assassin Shadow Wuji, and now they'd sent someone even stronger, Zhou Jiaoyu himself. Though both were tier 3 warriors, Zhou's power dwarfed the previous assassins. The gap was like heaven and earth. Even a casual slash from his blade made Lin Xiao feel an almost unbearable pressure. Lin Xiu's teammates were locked in their own battles, completely unable to come to his aid. His rainfall barrage, 5 thrusts per second, looked utterly powerless before the scarred man. Zhou Jiaoyu sneered. If you could manage 10 strikes per second, maybe, just maybe, you'd leave a scratch on me. He raised his blade, posture calm and predatory. Now, let me show you what a real weapon looks like. As the sword cleaved downward, a massive arc of black energy roared toward Lin Xiu. The young warrior instantly felt it. If he tried to block head-on, he'd die for sure. In that desperate instant, Lin Xiu activated rage mode, his aura erupting like a volcano. The black slash crashed into him with an ear-splitting explosion, shaking the entire ruin to its core. His teammates turned their heads in horror. The air filled with smoke and flames, and no one could see whether Lin Xiu had survived. When the dust finally cleared, everyone gasped. Lin Xiu had survived the blow. His clothes were in tatters, his body bruised, but he was still standing. The scarred man frowned, convinced Lin Xiu's sudden burst of strength came from some kind of forbidden drug. Yet instead of caution, excitement gleamed in his eyes. His bloodlust only grew. Even with rage mode active, Lin Xiu realized he was still being overpowered. This guy, he's at least peak tier 3. Seeing Lin Xiu only defending, the scarred man gripped his massive blade tighter, his aura exploding outward. He spun in place, sword howling through the air. This was the first strike of his silver rank technique, Vortex Triple Slash. Lin Xiu braced himself and blocked, but the impact hurled him through the air like a rag doll. Even the unbreakable Silver Soul spear trembled in his hands, hairline cracks snaking across its surface. The scarred man gave Lin Xiu no time to breathe. His sword roared again as he unleashed the second slash. Lin Xiu had planned to save his trump card, but he had no choice now. He needed to test this attack's power head-on. Rainstorm Blossom. Silver flashes burst from his spear like a flurry of lightning strikes. The scarred man scoffed. That move won't work on me. But before he could finish the sentence, flames erupted. 100 Birds' rising phoenix ignited alongside it. After a month of relentless combat, Lin Xiu could now dual cast both techniques at once. Shock finally flickered across the scarred man's face. An explosion thundered through the battlefield. Lin Xiu blocked the second slash but was blasted backward, slamming into the ground. The scarred man sneered, his grin twisted and cruel. Impressive strike. Raising his massive blade high, his aura flared violently. But you don't understand. Each cut of my Vortex Triple Slash absorbs my enemy's power. The stronger your strike, the deadlier my third one becomes. The scarred man roared, his third slash bursting forth. A crimson arc so fierce it tore through the air like a storm of blood. Lin Xiu felt the sheer killing intent crash over him. Death itself seemed to reach out and clutch his throat. But in that very instant, something within him shifted. The world fell silent. He and his spear became one, every heartbeat echoing through the weapon's core. Rainstorm Blossom, awakened form, a blinding surge of flame and lightning fused into one strike, piercing straight through the scarred man's chest. The man froze, eyes wide in disbelief. Impossible. It's the same move. How? How did it become so strong? System prompt. Enemy slain. Tier 3 warrior. Experience gained. 180,000. Level up. LV.15 achieved. Lin Xiu's vision blurred. The last of his strength left his body. As the battlefield fell quiet, he stumbled once, then collapsed unconscious. When Lin Xiu opened his eyes again, he found himself lying aboard the returning airship, the steady hum of the engines filling the silence. Captain Su walked up to him and handed over a glowing blue card. 3 million Alliance credits, she said with a grin. Your bounty reward for taking down Shadow Wuji and the Lone Wolf, Zhou Jiaoyu. Lin Xiu's eyes practically sparkled. 0.3 million. He could finally afford new gear again. Once the excitement settled, he scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Captain Su, how should I thank you? The captain smirked mischievously and suddenly leaned forward, pressing herself against him. I haven't decided yet. Maybe by marrying me? Lin Xiu's face turned crimson. I'm still in high school. Dating's not allowed. Su blinked, then burst out laughing. Unbelievable, a real iron-willed straight man. Days later, the airship finally landed back in Starshine City. The commanding officer held a solemn ceremony, pinning upon each of them the medal reserved only for the soldiers of the Federation. Lin Xiu's outstanding performance during the mission had made him the undeniable hero of the squad. After the ceremony, the commanding officer approached him with a smile. "Kid, ever thought about joining the Federation Army? With your talent, reaching the rank of Major General in a few years wouldn't be impossible." Lin Xiu rubbed the back of his neck, looking a little embarrassed. Sir, I'm still in my senior year of high school. And, well, I kind of want to go to college first." The officer blinked, then burst into laughter. "Right, I almost forgot you're still a student." "Fine then. Once you graduate, come find me anytime." Captain Su, standing nearby, fell into silent thought that a high school kid who can already take down a Tier 3 warrior. Just how am I supposed to win over this little monster? Before departure, Lin Xiu shared farewell hugs with his teammates, their bond forged through blood and fire. Then Captain Su spread her arms and teased, "What? You're not going to hug your big sister goodbye?" Lin Xiu stepped forward awkwardly, only to be wrapped in a suffocatingly soft embrace that made his face turn red. "Don't forget us, okay?" she murmured softly near his ear. "No matter how high you rise, remember, you still have brothers and sisters who once fought and bled beside you." Meanwhile, the Academy's year-end tournament was in full swing. From the stands, Instructor Luo kept glancing around anxiously. "Why isn't Lin Xiu here yet? The Federation troops were supposed to return yesterday. Don't tell me." Beside her, Fatty frowned with worry. "Teacher Luo, where exactly did Lin Xiu go to train? It's been a whole month already. What if something happened to him?" Luo sighed. "Let's wait a little longer. That kid's tough. He won't go down that easily." On stage, Tang Tian crushed his opponent Lei Liang, the 98th ranked fighter, in a one-sided match. The crowd erupted in chatter. "I heard Tang Tian just returned from the path of death. That place is a nightmare. Barely anyone survives it." Just then, the referee called Lin Xiu's name, but no one stepped onto the stage. As he began the countdown to forfeit, tension filled the air. Then suddenly, whoosh, a figure dropped from the sky. "No need to count," Lin Xiu said with a grin. "I'm here." His opponent sneered. "So you're the trash from class 29? You're not even worthy to face me." Lin Xiu smirked, raising his pinky in mock disdain. Sorry, you're not even worth swinging at." Chun Zhao's veins bulged with fury. "You bastard." The referee signaled the start, and Chun Xiao roared, swinging his massive axe downward. But Lin Xiu didn't dodge. He caught the strike with his bare hands. Gasps filled the arena that a moment later, Lin Xiu's foot lashed out, sending Chun Xiao flying off the stage with a thunderous crash. But Chun Xiao refused to accept defeat. He staggered to his feet and roared, unleashing his bronze-tier martial art. Falling leaves. 9 forms. Lin Xiu met the attack head-on, his explosive fist shattering the 9 strikes like breaking glass. Humiliated by someone once called a loser, Chun Xiao lost all restraint. "You're dead," he shouted, channeling his full power. His aura surged as he unleashed his strongest technique. Silver-tier martial art. Cascading falls, 3,000 strikes. The crowd gasped. "No way. He's using his ultimate move in the first round. If Lin Xiu doesn't draw a weapon, he's going to be crushed." But Lin Xiu just smiled that he'd grown fond of these flashy 9 forms and 13 styles techniques, because dodging even once was enough to max out his rage gauge. The moment Chun Zhao's strike descended, Lin Xiu's body flared with energy, charged explosive fist. Before Chun Xiao could even touch him, the impact sent him flying off the stage like a rag doll. The referee raised his arm high. "Winner, Lin Xiu." The crowd erupted, while Luo and Fatty stared in disbelief. Luo finally laughed. Kid, ever heard of laying low? You've been back 5 minutes and already flattened your opponent. Fatty pouted. Bro, where the hell did you go for a month? Could have brought your best buddy along. Lin Xiao smirked. That place was so dangerous, even I almost died. If I brought you, we'd both be zombie chow. After a round of teasing, Lin Xiao opened his status panel. Seeing his level reach 15, he grinned. Finally, time to unlock the gene lock. System alert. Warning, unlocking the gene lock carries a 10% chance of death. Proceed with unlocking Tier 1 gene lock. Lin Xiao nearly spat blood. You've got to be kidding me. 10% chance of dying? What kind of scam system are you? No way he'd gamble his life for a risky upgrade that he decided to hold off for now and dumped all 15 potential points straight into strength instead. Before he could relax, the announcement blared again. Student Lin Xiao from class 29, report to the arena immediately. Meanwhile, in the control room, Dean Zhonglin was watching the matches unfold with a dark expression. So the brat actually survived the light fortress and even got stronger. He muttered coldly. To give the Tang family an explanation, he ordered the operator find him a real opponent, someone who'll cripple him in front of everyone. The operator hesitated but didn't dare disobey. Outside, the massive digital screen displayed the top 100 battle draw in real time. Fatty clutched his hands together, whispering like he was praying to the gods. Please, just let him draw some rookie-level fighter, just this once. But fate, or rather corruption, had other plans. Lin Xiao's opponent flashed on the screen. Yi Guling, rank 4 on the power board. Fatty's jaw dropped. Crap, Yi Guling, the one who trains in high-risk zones for fun. That psycho's killed real monsters. At the same time, Zhang Yi's draw came up too. Tang Tian, fresh from the Road of Death trials. The first match was set. Zhang Yi versus Tang Tian. When Tang Tian heard Zhang, he was from Lin Xiao's class. His grin turned vicious. A classmate of that trash. Perfect warm-up before I crush the real thing. As the match began, Tang Tian easily sidestepped Zhang Yi's opening strike. In the same motion, he grabbed Zhang Yi's arm with brutal efficiency. It wasn't over. Tang Tian was hunting for a chance to snap limbs, to make an example of him. Lin Xiao couldn't hold back and stepped forward, voice sharp. If you've got the guts, come at me. Leave my classmate alone. Tang Tian sneered. Don't worry. When it's your turn, I'll break every limb that I'll make you suffer before I finish you. Lin Xiao shot back without flinching. I've got a score to settle with you too. Even if your old man shows up, he won't save you. The referee barked. Which class are you from? You can't just run onto the arena during a match. Lin Xiao snapped. As a teacher, do you expect to stand by and watch a student be beaten to death? The referee faltered, stammering. He didn't forfeit, though. Zhang, he was carried away on a stretcher, eyes burning with bitter regret. He croaked, I couldn't even take one of his moves. If you face him, be careful. Lin Xiao nodded solemnly. I'll avenge you, don't worry. Now it was Lin Xiao's turn, his opponent, Yi Guling. Stepping onto the stage, Lin Xiao assessed the man. Though listed as Tier 2, Ye's combat power rivaled that of Tier 3 Zhou Jiaoyu. Lin Xiao's expression hardened. This was going to be a brutal fight. The match opened with Yi Guling launching the first assault. One massive hammer strike smashed down. The arena floor cracked with a thunderous roar. This stage was made from special materials nearly as hard as steel. To see it fracture was shocking. Lin Xiao dodged in time, but his heart pounded. Ye's power was beyond ordinary. Yi sneered, You're quick, kid, don't get cocky. Be nimble all you want, I'll still smash your skull. As exchanges continued, Lin Xiao's normal attacks barely phased Yi Guling. His rage skill was still cooling down, and in a final like this, he needed to save it for the decisive moment. Fortunately, Lin Xiao spotted a weakness. The Warhammer's force was immense, but its weight made it slow and cumbersome. Under a flurry of Lin Xiao's rainstorm blossom thrusts, Yi failed to evade entirely. One spear pierced into his flank. Ye's expression darkened. Not bad. Interesting. Time to get serious. He gathered his core energy, wrapping his body in condensed aura. Then he unleashed his silver-tier technique, Mount-High Press. The hammer surge of energy slammed down like a mountain, pinning Lin Xiao in place and stealing his mobility. With no room to dodge, Lin Xiao had to stand and fight. He responded by fusing 100 Birds Rising Phoenix with Rainstorm Blossom, calling both techniques together. The two skills intertwined, and in that clash he managed to blunt and withstand Yi Guling's Mount-High Press. Before Lin Xiao could even catch his breath, Yi Guling launched another devastating strike. This one carried far greater force than before. Its shockwave cracked the air, the sheer killing intent pressing down like a storm. The crowd collectively held its breath. That blow looked strong enough to pulp him. But when the dust cleared, Lin Xiao was still standing, legs buried deep in the arena floor, yet unharmed. He gave a bitter grin. Why do I always get the freakishly overpowered opponents? Guess it's rage mode again. Yi Guling's eyes widened. Impossible. You're still alive? Lin Xiao stepped forward calmly. Sorry to disappoint you. His voice dropped cold as he lifted his spear. Warm-up's over. Now it's my turn. The rage-boosted Rainstorm Blossom burst forth once more. Flames and spear shadows tore through the air like a blazing tempest. Though he managed to block most of it, he could feel Lin Xiao's sudden surge in strength. The oppressive aura pressed against him, each clash heavier than the last. Their battle raged on, each impact splitting the stone floor, each shockwave shaking the arena. Finally, both unleashed their strongest attacks, hammer and spear colliding in a deafening explosion. When the smoke cleared, silence fell across the stands. The referee raised his hand. Winner, Lin Xiao. Just as the referee raised his hand to declare Lin Xiao the winner, chaos erupted. Yi Guling's face twisted with madness. Unwilling to accept defeat, he pulled out a microbomb and hurled it straight at Lin Xiao. The timer blinked red, detonation imminent. In that split second, a shadow flashed across the stage, stepping in front of Lin Xiao. Boom! The explosion thundered through the arena, shaking the entire platform. Yi Guling laughed hysterically. Ha! Let's see if you can survive this time. But when the smoke cleared, everyone froze. Lin Xiao was still standing. Before him stood an elderly man, calm and unscathed, surrounded by shimmering silver energy, a manifestation of externalized Yuan force, a skill only 6-star warriors could wield. The old man glanced down at Lin Xiao, his voice firm yet composed. Are you all right, young man? Lin Xiao nodded slightly. The elder gave a faint smile. Good. Keep training. I see great potential in you. Then his gaze darkened. Turning to the headmaster, his tone grew cold. This is the promising student your academy recommended to me. The headmaster bowed repeatedly, sweat beading down his forehead. And my apologies, sir. We'll deal with this disgraceful behavior immediately, severely. Lin Xiao could tell that the so-called Mr. Yi wasn't just anyone. Professor Luo leaned closer, whispering, he's probably an instructor from one of the 5 grand academies. Came here to scout talent. Lin Xiao's eyes gleamed with admiration. Someday, he thought, I'll become as powerful as him. Back in his dorm, Lin Xiao opened the system's lottery screen with anticipation. The result popped up, a blade technique skill card. He groaned in disbelief. Seriously, system, I'm a spear user. What the hell am I supposed to do with a blade skill? Then a new notification appeared, extra skill cards detected. Fusion system activated. Combine any 3 cards of the same grade to create 1 new random skill of equal rank. Lin Xiao's eyes lit up. Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's go system. Along with his level 15 reward draw, he also had 1 monthly lottery left. After a quick prayer to the RNG gods, the system chimed again. Congratulations, you've drawn a skill card bundle ×1. Lin Xiao nearly jumped up. System, you're the best. I knew you loved me. He now held 3 silver grade skill cards, blade, sword, and spear techniques. The new spear skill, Fatal Strike, turned out to work almost exactly like his old charge strike. Lin Xiao sighed. Wow, what a scam. So he decided to try out the fusion system, combining 3 same grade skill cards to forge a new one. He tapped fuse. A flash of silver light burst from a screen. Congratulations. You've obtained silver-grade spear technique. Judgment. Effect. Reflects any incoming weapon skill back at the attacker. Lin Xiao grinned from ear to ear. Everyone else does shield parries. Now I've got a spear parry. Hell yeah. The next day, during the Academy's final tournament, his opponent turned out to be a cute, doe-eyed girl. Lin Xiao scratched his head. How am I supposed to fight her? But to his surprise, the girl's eyes flashed with killing intent as she suddenly lunged at him. Her weapon, a hoop-like ring, snapped around his body before he could react. Now you can't run, she said coolly. Then, out of nowhere, she leaned in and kissed him on the cheek. Lin Xiao froze like a statue, the lipstick mark burning bright on his face. The girl turned toward the referee, raising her hand. I surrender. I could never fight my idol. The referee could only sigh helplessly. Winner, Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao was still in shock from the surprise kiss, standing there like his brain had short-circuited. Meanwhile, 3 chubby guys in the crowd practically turned green with envy. Why the hell does he get all the perks? The school nurse's temple twitched violently. That little vixen, daring to flirt with my Lin Xiao right in front of me. Suddenly, a strong hand yanked Lin Xiao backward. Before he knew it, the nurse had planted a deep, decisive kiss on his lips. His heart skipped a beat on impact. She smirked victoriously. So what if she kissed your cheek? I just took your first kiss, sweetheart. Lin Xiao dropped to his knees in despair, tears brimming in his eyes. The nurse patted his shoulder like a seasoned general. Don't worry, honey. I'll take responsibility. Just then, the campus broadcast blared through the arena. Next up, the top 25 to top 12 round. One group will have a 3-way match due to uneven numbers. Lin Xiao's face darkened. Great. Just my luck. The one thing I didn't want. Somewhere in the control room, a cold laugh echoed. Lin Xiao, I prepared another special meal just for you. Instructor Luo leaned close and warned, those two are best friends. Be careful. It'll probably turn into a 2-on-1. Lin Xiao sighed, but didn't look worried. After all, he had a new trump card hidden up his sleeve, his spear skill, judgment. As soon as the match began, his prediction came true. The 2 opponents exchanged a glance and attacked him together without hesitation. Facing 2 opponents at once, Lin Xiao still moved with calm precision, completely unshaken. Neither of them came close to Yi Guling's level. With a sharp spin of his spear, he unleashed 100 birds toward the phoenix, aiming to take one down before they could react. Jiang Tao sneered. Is that all you've got? His silver tier technique. Tempest Breaker tore through the air, shredding Lin Xiao's flames apart. So that was it. A skill that used high-speed rotation to deflect most projectiles. Lin Xiao's Phoenix Strike was completely countered. Both enemies lunged in, their auras surging as they went all out to crush him. From the stands, the school nurse slammed the railing. 2-on-1, and they're already using ultimates? Shameless. Lin Xiao smirked. A reflection skill. Huh? He lowered his voice, eyes glinting. Funny thing, I got one too. Skill activated, judgment. A bright blue barrier erupted in front of him, absorbing both incoming attacks in a flash of light. A split second later, the same energy shot back toward its owners, detonating in a thunderous blast. Jiang Tao froze in disbelief. A split second later, his own technique slammed into him, sending him crashing to the floor. Lin Xiao's gaze sharpened. Now it's your turn. He unleashed Charge Strike and Rainfall Blossom in perfect sync. Zhu Jun didn't even last a full second before being blasted off the stage. The arena fell silent. Only Lin Xiao stood tall at the center. Victory was his. From the crowd, his chubby friend jumped up. Lin Xiao's insane. He turned a 2-on-1 into a 1-on-2. The head instructor's jaw clenched in fury. How was he still winning? Suddenly, a cold voice rose from behind him. Tang Tian stepped forward. In the top 12 draw, I want him. His eyes darkened, voice dripping with venom. Lin Xiao, I'll crush you in front of everyone. The pain I've suffered, you'll pay it back tenfold. Whispers rippled through the audience. After surviving the road of death, Tang Tian had become a level 2 warrior. His goal wasn't victory, it was vengeance. Through his analysis eye, Lin Xiao scanned him. Tang Tian's total power level exceeded even Yigu Ling's. Lin Xiao's expression turned cold. After all the assassination attempts from the Tang family, there was no going back. With a metallic clang, their weapons met. The duel for life and death began. The impact sent Lin Xiao flying backward, his boots grinding sparks across the arena floor. Tang Tian sneered, gripping his crimson blade. "This is the Blood's hard sword. Cost me 1,000,000,000 credits. Let's see your toy spear hold up." Lin Xiao rolled to his feet, barely dodging the next slash. Rainfall Blossom. His spear burst into a storm of thrusts. But Tang Tian's form flickered like a shadow. Too fast, too precise. Lin Xiao's eyes widened. That movement a body technique? From a stance, Professor Luo shouted in disbelief. Impossible. Movement arts are exclusive to Tier 3 warriors. Has Tang Tian already advanced? Tang Tian's brother, Tang Ping, sneered from the sidelines. What's impossible about that? Just wait. You'll be carrying Lin Xiao's body out. Tang Tian surged forward, launching a silver tier strike, piercing thrust. Lin Xiao was driven back. The blade caught him and sent him skidding across the ring. Immediately, Tang Tian followed with a crushing shatter punch, clearly looking to answer force with force. The blow sent Lin Xiao flying several meters. He barely managed to regain his footing. Blood burst from his mouth. He tasted iron, and his face drained of color. A chill ran through him. Tang Tian's power might already be at Tier 3 caliber. Even though his rage buff was still cooling down, Lin Xiao refused to give up. He spun his spear again. 100 birds toward the phoenix erupted forth. Tang Tian didn't flinch. He had purchased a collection of counter techniques to specifically neutralize Lin Xiao's style. With a fluid, flowing motion, Tang Tian activated a technique like drifting clouds and running water. The move instantly nullified the Phoenix barrage force. In the next heartbeat, Lin Xiao's assault dissipated into the air. This was the second time today that Lin Xiao had met a skill that completely countered his 100 birds. He thought, surely, Rainfall Blossom will at least hold. Tang Tian executed the same flowing technique again. A single horizontal slash shattered the Rainfall Blossom's momentum. Lin Xiao stared in disbelief. They actually countered everything. Tang Tian's grin widened. Then he sprang high into the air. He channeled his next technique, Bloodlight Descent, and drove it down like a meteor. Lin Xiao triggered Judgment to spear reflect the incoming skill. But on impact, Judgment failed to return the technique. The spear snapped with a harsh crack. The bloodlight struck Lin Xiao. His body convulsed and his right hand went numb. He stared at the broken spear. If you can't reflect it, then Tang Tian truly wields Tier 3 power. Tang Tian dove in with a lightning-fast thrust. The blade pierced. At the same moment, Lin Xiao seized Tang Tian's sword with his right hand. Using the opening, his left hand unleashed a charged strike, an explosive burst fist. The impact rang out. Tang Tian staggered from the blow. The distance between them widened for a moment. Tang Tian's expression snapped. Fury twisted his features as he swung a massive fist into Lin Xiao's face. A barrage followed, a relentless, brutal hammering. From the stands, Lin Xiao's chubby friend cried out in panic. "Give up, Lin Xiao. You'll get killed if you keep this up." Yet Lin Xiao's gaze stayed resolute. He would not yield. Tang Tian's shatter punch smashed into his face. Lin Xiao crashed down, blacking out. "I refuse to lose like this." The next moment, his mind linked to the system. Unlock Tier 1 gene lock now. Warning, 10% fatality rate. To win the match and crush the Tang clan, Lin Xiao chose to gamble all. Tier 1 gene lock initializing. All attributes rising. Congrats, host. Gene lock unlocked. Overall combat power greatly boosted. In the arena, The referee was about to declare the result. Lin Xiao pushed himself up at that very moment. Power surged through every cell in his body. Tang Tian snorted, "Parlor tricks." Lin Xiao vanished. An instant later, his burst fist snapped into Tang Tian's face. The impact rippled out like a shockwave. Tang Tian's arm exploded, revealing metal beneath, a cybernetic limb. During the road of death, beasts tore off his limbs. Cybernetics kept him alive, but his cultivation is capped at Tier 3. Tang Tian blamed all of it on Lin Xiao. He slashed. Lin Xiao dipped under the blade. Lin Xiao kicked him hard. "You brought this on yourself." Outmatched. As he flew back, Lin Xiao flashed forward again, then returned every blow in a brutal flurry. The referee cut in. "He's unconscious. Stop." The referee declared Lin Xiao the winner. Yet Tang Tian wasn't done. He drew a syringe filled with zombie virus. He lunged for Lin Xiao's back, a gift from the road of death. His face twisted. "I'll turn you into a monster." Lin Xiao sneered. "You force my hand." He twisted Tang Tian's arm. The needle sank into Tang Tian's neck. In the next second, Tang Tian began to mutate. "Since you've turned, die." With Tang Tian slain, a shriek rose from the stands. "Give me back my son's life." An old man appeared and blocked the punch. Sensing a Tier 6 aura, Tang Mubai hesitated. "Please don't interfere, sir. I want my son's killer brought to justice." "What I saw," the elder said, "was a student protecting Starlight Academy, killing a mutated zombie." Tang Mubai fell silent, at a loss. Meanwhile, at the federal barracks, Lin Xiao's comrades watched his finals. It's the Tang heirs' fault, but their clan won't let brother Lin go. Captain Su entered. "Mutation at Starlight Academy. Orders. We move to investigate." "Perfect. Let's back brother Lin up." The next morning, a hard knock woke Lin Xiao. Director Zhang Lin arrived with the police. "Lin Xiao, you're under arrest for murder." Lin Xiao wasn't surprised. "Sending me to die at Bright Fortress was your idea too, old man." Zhang Lin snapped. "Insolent. Is that how a student speaks to teacher?" Lin Xiao laughed. "You? A teacher?" The officers moved to seize him. "I hold a first-star medal," Lin Xiao said. "You lack jurisdiction. Only the Federal Army can detain me." The officers froze, startled. Zhang Lin scoffed. "Don't believe him. A high schooler with a first-star medal? Impossible." Just as Lin Xiao was about to be taken away, a federal armored convoy arrived on scene. Captain Su stepped out with his squad. "How dare you lay hands on a federal soldier with a first-star medal? Arrest them all." Zhang Lin panicked. "Why is the Federal Army here?" Su said, "We'll contact command. If you abused authority, you'll answer for it." But it didn't end there. Because the Tang family was a major shareholder, the school expelled Lin Xiao under pressure. Rage flared in Lin Xiao's chest. "I'm sorry, Lin Xiao," Teacher Luo sighed. "I did my best. Maybe I can ask a colleague at another academy to take you." Lin Xiao shook his head. Getting a transfer after expulsion was nearly impossible. Then Captain Su spoke. "The commander sent us to formally invite you to join the federal forces." Lin Xiao thought it over. If university was out, he'd rather fight beside his brothers, slaying zombies. "You don't have to join the army," a voice cut in. Elder Yi appeared, handing him an envelope. "You've the talent to join our academy instead." Lin Xiao opened it and gasped. It was an admission letter from Sanctuary Academy. Everyone stood in shock. It was one of the top super academies. Elder Yi, a special recruiter from Sanctuary, had seen Lin Xiao's potential, enough for direct admission without the national exam. Lin Xiao never imagined expulsion would lead to such fortune. At last, he might see Luo Yu again. Yet Sanctuary Academy lay at the very end of the road of death. The road of death wasn't truly a road, but a deadly region, one of Earth's most perilous zones, home to beasts of Tier 10 power. The ruins of mysterious wartime laboratories still lay hidden across the land. Old Master Yi thought Lin Xiao was scared. Little did he know, the kid was excited. The more zombies and mutant beasts there were, the more EXP he could farm. But instead of rushing headfirst in a battle, Lin Xiao decided to head to Black Sea City first to earn his warrior certification before reporting to the academy. After Old Yi left, his old comrades crowded around, laughing and cheering. Damn, Lin Xiao, you actually got into the Sanctuary Academy. The celebration turned wild. Women surrounded him from both sides. Xiao Linzi, once you settle in at the academy, Big Sis will come keep you company. Brother Lin Xiao, don't worry. I'll skip grades if I have to. I'll join you there soon. Their chubby friend couldn't hold back a laugh. Bro, you're a legend. You've got both the mature ladies and the cute girls chasing you. He pointed toward a woman in military uniform. Even this officer lady's looking at you like she's ready to elope right now. His big mouth earned him a solid beating. The women kept bickering, and Lin Xiao, trapped in the middle, nearly suffocated between fragrance and murderous intent. The next day, he set off for Black Sea City, carrying a standard long spear he'd just bought for emergencies. Once he obtained his warrior license, he'd finally be able to log into the Warrior Alliance network and purchase high-grade weapons. As soon as he entered the outskirts, Lin Xiao sensed movement in the brush. So, the Tang clan still hasn't learned their lesson, huh? Several fighters burst out from the trees. Lin Xiao narrowed his eyes and murmured, skill activated. 100 birds toward the phoenix. In a flash of light and sound, the ambushers fell, every last one of them, dead before they even hit the ground. But Lin Xiao could tell those guys were just testing him. The real expert hadn't even shown up yet. So many of you, and you still can't handle one high school kid. Tang Mubai's rage boiled over. This time, he decided to strike personally. You little bastard, today, I'll make you pay for Tang Tian's death. Lin Xiao sneered. Old man, if you're worried Tang Tian's lonely in the afterlife, I don't mind sending you to keep him company. Courting death, Tang Mubai roared and swung his blade down, sword energy roaring like thunder. Lin Xiao blocked the strike, sliding back several meters, his arms trembling from the impact. He immediately countered. Skill, rain of pear blossom. The spear's shadows poured down like a storm. Tang Mubai barely dodged, his robes sliced by the wind pressure. The massive tree behind him bore deep claw-like marks from the spear strikes, enough to make even Tang Mubai frown. Not bad, boy, but in front of true power, that's nothing but a parlor trick. With a snarl, he unleashed Crescent Sky Slash. Lin Xiao didn't take the hit head-on. His opponent was a Tier 4 warrior, and his Berserk mode was still on cooldown, 3 minutes left. All he needed to do was hold on until then. Lin Xiao's spear burst with fire as he roared. Skill activated. 100 birds toward the phoenix. But the fire energy was suddenly absorbed, completely devoured by Tang Mubai. Thanks for the flame buff, kid. It just made my next move even stronger. Golden fire erupted from Tang Mubai's body. Legendary martial art. Phoenix dance in 9 heavens. A blazing inferno burst outward, swallowing the entire forest in golden fire. At the brink of death, Lin Xiao activated Skill, Judgment, reducing the damage by half. His spear shattered once again, scattering sparks through the air. The remaining shockwave sent him flying, slamming him into the dirt. Tang Mubai advanced like a predator. His blade pierced Lin Xiao's body, blood spraying into the air. Tang Mubai roared. At that very instant, Berserk mode cooldown complete. Lin Xiao's muscles bulged, his veins lit up, and his aura exploded. He roared. Skill, Berserk combo, explosive fist. The punch detonated like a cannon. Tang Mubai was hit square in the chest. What how? His aura just skyrocketed. Even as a Tier 4 warrior, Tang Mubai was sent crashing backward, coughing blood. Lin Xiao slowly walked forward, picking up Tang Mubai's fallen sword. Trembling, Tang Mubai stammered. I'm the head of the Tang clan. If you kill me, the Tang family will hunt you down. Lin Xiao's tone was ice cold. Tang clan? I've never given a damn about them. I left Starshine City because I already received my Sanctuary Academy admission letter. Lin Xiao said coldly, his eyes sharp as blades. The future me. Isn't someone a third-rate clan like the Tang family could ever hope to touch? D. He swung the sword without hesitation. One clean slash, and Tang Mubai's head rolled to the ground in a spray of blood. System notice, kill confirmed. Tier 3 warrior defeated. EXP gained, 547,821. Ugh, berserk's over. Lin Xiu exhaled, his body shaking from exhaustion. That guy was almost tier 4. No wonder the EXP payout's insane. Thank God for berserk, or I'd be a corpse right now. He found a quiet spot and began to patch up his wounds. His system interface showed 4 accumulated lottery draws. Might as well spin a few while I'm healing, he muttered with a grin. This time, though, the roulette looked different. Every slot was marked with a mysterious question mark. System hint. Today's draw has a chance to trigger multiplier rewards. Lin Xiu's eyes sparkled. Nice, this might actually be my lucky day. The wheel stopped spinning. Congratulations. You've received a large batch of elemental crystals. Multicolored crystals poured out of the portal. Loot. 3 times tier, 3 crystals, 5 times tier, 2, and 10 commons. They weren't too useful for him now, but they'd sell for a good amount of gold. Pocketing the haul, he grinned. All right, next one. Give me something spicy. Congratulations. You've obtained a legendary weapon, Crimson Moon. Lin Xiu's face lit up. Haha, now this is what I'm talking about. The flexibility on this alloy is unreal. He flexed his hands, admiring the blood-red gauntlets. Aside from spearmanship, my best skill's hand-to-hand combat. These babies and my explosive fist? Perfect combo. He laughed, eyes gleaming. Keep it rolling. While the luck's hot, I'm using every single spin. System notice, congratulations, host. You've obtained a large batch of skill cards. Lin Xiu stared at the pile of cards on the ground, expression blank. 15 cards, and not a single one usable for his class. All right then, let's fuse them. He decided instantly. Fusion complete. Bronze skill cards merged successfully. New skill acquired. Silver spear technique. Heaven-piercing pillar. Description. A powerful thrust that shakes the heavens. Most effective right after waking up in the morning. Lin Xiu twitched his lips. What kind of dumb skill is that? I'm supposed to wake up and stab people. He kept going, tapping the fusion option like a madman. Success, silver skill acquired. C-stabilizing needle. Success, silver skill acquired. Lightning 5-strike whip. Failure, bronze fusion failed. You damn system. Lin Xiu shouted. How the hell do you congratulate me for failing? Checking his inventory, he saw 6 silver cards left, 2 fusion attempts remaining. He clasped his hands, muttering like a desperate gambler. Please, just 1 gold skill. Please, System Daddy. System notice, congratulations, host. It worked. Lin Xiu's eyes lit up, tears of joy welling. Fusion failed. You dog system. Give me back my cards, he roared. Then, immediately changing tone, he begged, please, System Daddy, just 1 last time. I'll never curse you again. Success. Silver skill cards merged successfully. New skill acquired. Golden spear technique. Galaxy fall from the 9th heaven. Ha ha ha. Finally, I actually did it. Lin Xiu shouted, nearly crying from relief. Though he was still only a tier 2 warrior and couldn't yet train golden skills, he wasn't worried. After all, when you're a cheater, leveling up is just a matter of time. But then, the final spin brought something unexpected. System reward. Congratulations, host. You've obtained a rapid growth pack. Phase 2. Would you like to use it? Lin Xiu hesitated, grimacing. In the end, the promise of plus 50 potential points was too tempting. He sighed, clicked yes, and reluctantly equipped a training armor set that weighed over 1,000 kilograms. On his way to Black Sea City, he came across a traveler being chased by a tier 2 Silverclaw bear. Always the hero, Lin Xiu blurred forward like lightning, and with 1 punch, obliterated the beast in a single blow. Lin Xiu could hardly believe it. With the boost from this legendary weapon, my explosive fist can actually one-shot a tier 2 beast. A voice came from behind. Hey, I'm Lei Liang. Thanks for saving my life back there. You heading to Black Sea City too? Lin Xiao nodded. Yeah, I'm on my way to take the warrior qualification exam. Just then, one of Lei Liang's teammates rushed over, panting. Lei Liang, you idiot. You got chased all over the street by a tier 2 beast. Lei Liang immediately puffed up. Tisish, if I hadn't burned all my stamina killing too many beasts earlier, that thing would have been toast. He grinned at Lin Xiao. Anyway, if it weren't for you, brother, I'd be a corpse by now. Lei Liang and his party were also heading for the same exam, so they invited Lin Xiao to travel with them, and he agreed. Along the way, Lei Liang rubbed his head awkwardly. By the way, we picked up another traveler too. She's a bit weird. Calls herself the Dark Princess or something. Name's Bailey Haolang. A girl with cold eyes and an aura of mystery walked toward them, giving Lin Xiao an assessing look. Your strength's not bad, she said flatly. You barely meet the qualifications to be my disciple. She tilted her head, utterly serious. Lin Xiao, do you wish to become my apprentice? Lin Xiao froze on the spot. Now he understood what Lei Liang meant by weird. Weird? No, this woman was a complete lunatic. The group kept moving until they reached a clearing filled with bones. Lin Xiao frowned. These were done by tier 2 man-eating birds. They're carnivorous flyers that actively hunt living prey. Lei Liang shivered. You mean they eat people? Before anyone could react, a shrill screech echoed through the sky. Keek, keek, as a dark cloud of wings blotted out the sun. A tier 2 man-eating bird dove straight down, shrieking as it sliced through the air. One of the warriors reacted instantly, flicking a dagger upward. Slash! The beast was cut clean in half before it even reached the ground. The man snorted smugly. Huh, that's it? This is what passes for a tier 2 beast. Lin Xiao frowned. Don't get cocky. The real danger's only just starting. His warning came too late. The sky darkened as a massive swarm of man-eating birds emerged from the clouds. Their eyes glowed red, and their screeches filled the air as they dove in unison like a black tidal wave. Lin Xiao's aura flared. Energy surged through his body as he charged, explosive fist to its limit. He punched upward, boom. Flames erupted like cannon fire, and dozens of birds were vaporized mid-air, raining down and burning ash. Bailey Haolang whistled, clearly impressed. Not bad. You're starting to look more and more like a proper disciple of mine. Lin Xiao sighed. Could you not keep saying that? If you really want to play teacher, how about showing off some strength first? Her crimson eyes gleamed with amusement. Oh, you want to see my strength? With a smirk, she leapt into the air, cloak fluttering like a shadow. Watch closely, my dear apprentice. Time for your master to demonstrate. Lin Xiao blinked, dumbfounded. Wait, she's actually serious. But the next instant, a terrifying surge of dark energy exploded from her body. The air froze. The world went silent. Even the swarming beasts hesitated mid-flight. A crimson arc of light streaked across the sky. In an instant, the entire flock of man-eating birds was sliced apart mid-air, pieces raining down like bloody snow. When Bailey Haolang landed gracefully, chunks of meat and feathers fell around her like a macabre storm. She flicked her blade clean and smirked. So, now do you understand why you should become my disciple? Lin Xiao was stunned. He hadn't expected this eccentric girl to be that powerful. Just then, Lei Liang exclaimed, Wait, where are the crystals? Those birds were packed with elemental cores. Bailey Haolang raised a small pouch, her eyes glinting playfully. Looking for these? Lin Xiao's brows furrowed. She harvested all those cores mid-battle, without any of us even noticing. She sauntered over, dangling the bag in front of him. Here, if you agree to be my apprentice, these will be your welcome gift from Master. Lin Xiao didn't even hesitate. No thanks. Her smile froze. What? Her face twitched in disbelief. She huffed, snatching the pouch back. Fine, I'll just use them myself. Raising her hand, crimson energy pulsed from her palm. The crystals inside the bag floated up, then shattered into pure energy. Within seconds, every last one, dozens of tier 2 cores, was absorbed into her body. Lei Liang and the others were devastated. No, you could have given them to us. Hell, I'd take her as my master for that bag alone. Later, the group sat around a campfire, roasting chunks of man-eating bird meat. Lin Xiu quietly activated Appraisal Eye, scanning Bailey Haolang stats. System notice, scan failed. Target's level exceeds permissible range. Detected level, Tier 4 Warrior. Lin Xiu's expression hardened. A Tier 4, hiding among exam candidates? This girl, she's dangerous. But before anyone could relax, a wave of dizziness swept over them. Their bodies suddenly felt heavy, their strength fading fast. It didn't take long for the truth to sink in. Their so-called teammates had poisoned the roast meat, planning to rob Lin Xiu and Bailey Haolang of their gear and loot. Yet before they could act, the scent of the meat attracted something far worse. A Tier 3 mutant beast, blood-eyed direwolf. It lunged out of the shadows, crimson eyes gleaming, and in one bite tore a warrior's throat clean open. The rest screamed, drawing their weapons in panic. But the wolf was too fast. Its movements were a blur, dodging every strike with terrifying agility. Against a beast like that, the three of them didn't stand a chance. Lei Liang, in his panic, lured the dire wolf toward Lin Xiu, hoping the monster would eat its fill before he came back for the leftovers. Lin Xiu only smirked coldly. Really, he clenched his fist, explosive fist, and slammed it into the wolf's skull. The impact thundered across the clearing, but the beast barely staggered. Its skull didn't even crack. Lei Liang stared wide-eyed. How are you still standing? You should be paralyzed by now. It turned out the poison only worked on Tier 1 warriors. Lin Xiu, being Tier 2, was completely unaffected. Tier 2? Then why haven't you gotten your warrior license already? Lin Xiu grinned while dodging another claw swipe. Told you, I'm broke. Exams cost money, you know. The dire wolf snarled again and pounced, claws slicing through the air. Lin Xiu blocked, but the blow sent him stumbling back, armor plates rattling. The 1,000-kilogram training gear he'd equipped earlier now dragged him down like chains. Hey, he shouted through gritted teeth. If you don't get over here right now, I swear I'm dying out of spite. Bailey Haolang sighed dramatically, standing up and stretching. Ugh, fine. Who told you to be my disciple? I guess Master has to step in. Lei Liang gawked. Wait, you're fine too. The poison didn't work? Bailey Haolang brushed dust from her coat, calm as ever. You're mistaken, she said, eyes glinting. I'm not going to Black Sea City to take the exam. Her lips curled into a smirk. I'm going there to conduct it. The blood-eyed direwolf snarled, furious that they were still talking. It lunged forward, jaws wide open, fangs gleaming like daggers. Bailey Haolang didn't even flinch. Her blade flashed, SHHK, and the wolf's tail went flying, painting the ground red. Lin Xiu blinked. Nice aim, but why the tail? You know its neck is the dangerous part, right? Bailey snorted, voice dripping with pride. That was just a demonstration for my disciple. Now, watch closely. In the blink of an eye, her figure blurred. Silver skill, autumn frost cuts jade. Two blades gleamed like twin streaks of moonlight, weaving through the beast's body. Her movements were so fast that the wolf's form froze mid-pounce, then split apart into perfectly severed chunks, collapsing with an explosive thud. The ground trembled as the massive creature fell, blood misting the air. Watching her move, Lin Xiu realized something new about energy control. She'd channeled her source energy into both blades and her legs, boosting speed and power simultaneously. Bailey Haolang turned back toward the trembling survivors, eyes glowing with killing intent. All right, she said coldly. Now let's deal with the real problem. Lei Liang and the others dropped to their knees, begging for mercy. Bailey considered them for a brief moment. You lured the wolf to us. You planned to kill my disciple. Her voice turned to ice. Unforgivable. The blade moved faster than thought. Lei Liang's head hit the dirt before he could even scream. The remaining two were frozen in terror. Bailey flicked the blood from her weapon and waved dismissively. You two get lost. I only kill the guilty. They bolted, stumbling away into the darkness. Lin Xiu looked at Lei Liang's corpse and sighed. What a waste. Bailey frowned. A warrior should never pity the dead. Compassion will get you killed. Of course, she had no idea what Lin Xiu was really thinking. Damn it. All that EXP, gone. Then Bailey's gaze sharpened. You're suppressing your power, aren't you? I can feel it. You're not just here to. Lin Xiu feigned confusion. What? I have no idea what you're talking about. He smirked, changing the subject. You know, you talk like a granny. How old are you anyway? Are you really a certified examiner? I really am an examiner, Bailey Huling said coolly, brushing back her hair. But don't expect any special treatment during your test. Then she added smugly. And by the way, a girl's age is classified information. Learn some manners. Lin Xiu still didn't look convinced. And that, more than anything, irked her. She crossed her arms, scowling. Fine. I'll suppress my strength to match yours. No weapons, no tricks. If I win, you'll become my disciple. Deal. Lin Xiu smirked. Sure. Sounds fun. I'll show you that arrogance doesn't count as strength. Bailey curled her finger in provocation. Come, little apprentice. Energy flared around Lin Xiu, his legendary gear glowing as his explosive fist charged up. But to his disbelief, he couldn't even touch her. She dodged effortlessly, and with a single punch, bam! Lin Xiu was launched into the air, crashing into the dirt. He lay there in shock. Same level, and she still overpowered me barehanded. Bailey Huling stood over him, hands on hips. You want to learn? Then start with the basics. Call me Master. Lin Xiu groaned. Master. She burst out laughing. Ha ha. Finally, a disciple. Oh, this feels so good. When she finally calmed down, her expression turned serious. All right, first lesson. Your energy control is trash. Watch carefully. She picked up a stone, channeling source energy into it. Whoosh! The stone shot forward. It smashed into a rock wall, shattering both itself and the stone it hit. See? Infusing energy into an object makes it harder, sure, but it's still just a rock. It'll break when it hits something stronger. She lifted another stone, this time letting energy flow around it, coating its surface. Now, when you envelop it, crack. The new stone blasted through the rock and came out intact. When warriors coat their weapons with source energy, not just infuse it, the effect multiplies. The stronger the energy, the greater the result. She smirked. Now, focus your energy into your eyes. You'll be able to see the layer of power on my blade. Lin Xiu concentrated, guiding his energy toward his vision. When he opened his eyes, he froze. Bailey Huling's twin blades were wrapped in a dense, radiant layer of violet energy, pulsing like living flame. Blue for tiers 1 to 3, violet for 4 to 6, orange for 7 to 9, gold beyond that, the realm of legends. This sword, Bailey said softly, was my mother's. Cheap alloy, maybe worth a few thousand credits. Then she smiled faintly, blade humming with power. But with my energy covering it, its sharpness rivals weapons worth millions. Lin Xiu frowned. Wait, you said you suppressed your strength to tier 1, right? But the energy on your fist earlier was way above tier 1. Bailey Huling scratched her head awkwardly. Maybe I kind of forgot to hold back. Forgot. Lin Xiu snapped. That's called cheating. The bet doesn't count. She smirked. Too late. You already call me master. No takebacks. Besides, having me as your teacher is a pretty good deal. Fine then, she said, gesturing to a blade. Try coating this with your source energy. Lin Xiu took a deep breath, focused all his power, and only managed to cover about 1/5 of the blade before the glow fizzled. Damn, this is way harder than just channeling energy, he muttered. Bailey spoke lightly. Even tier 3 warriors can't evenly spread their energy. But inside, she was shocked. 1/5 on the first try? This guy's a freak of nature. Lin Xiu thought back. No wonder Tang Mubai's strikes were so dull. He didn't even know this technique existed. This skill could be a game changer, he decided. I'm mastering it no matter what. The next morning, Lin Xiu woke up to someone untying his belt. He froze. Hey, what are you doing? I'm not that kind of guy. Wham! A punch landed squarely on his head. Not that kind of guy, my ass, Bailey shouted. I just realized you've been sleeping in full weight training gear. She grinned, giving him a thumbs up. Not bad, disciple. Fighting that hard while fully weighted? Impressive. Then she pointed to a distant peak. Training goal for today. Reach that mountain before sunset. Lin Xiu's eyes widened. That's over 100 kilometers. You trying to kill me? Stop whining, she yelled, already sprinting ahead. Lin Xiu sighed, then froze as screeching filled the air. A swarm of man-eating birds dove straight toward him. He drew his sword and slashed upward. From ahead, Bailey shouted, Next 10 kilometers, fight and run. Locate the core crystals mid-combat, slice clean, and extract them without breaking a stride. That's insane, Lin Xiu yelled back. Watch and learn, Bailey replied, flipping midair. One precise slash, one perfect grab. The bird fell, and the crystal gleamed between her fingers. Lin Xiu snarled. TCH. Show off. He swung at another bird. Crack. The crystal shattered to dust. No way. One more time, he growled, swinging again and again. But before long, his breath was ragged, arms trembling, and his whole body was screaming in exhaustion. Lin Xiu had barely rested for 2 minutes when a cold blade pressed against his neck. Bailey Howling stood there radiating murderous intent. If you don't want me to slice your head off, then run, boy, run. With no choice, Lin Xiu staggered back to his feet. He glanced at his interface. Quest. Rapid growth, progress 6,021/10,000. At this rate, he'd probably finish before reaching Black Sea City. He'd been complaining nonstop, but he had to admit her training methods actually worked. Within just a short time, his speed, precision, and reflexes had all noticeably improved. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, Lin Xiu finally completed the brutal training. Bailey crossed her arms and glared. That's all you've got? I ran over 1,000 kilometers back in my day. Whiz! An arrow suddenly shot straight for the back of Lin Xiu's head. Bailey reacted instantly. Her blade flashed, deflecting it mid-air with a sharp clang. Only then did Lin Xiu realize, horrified, someone had been tailing them for a while, and he hadn't even noticed. 2 silhouettes emerged from a distance. Bailey narrowed her eyes. Yin brothers, huh? Bandits who haunt these valleys, robbing and murdering warriors for loot. Her tone turned icy. You're on the Federation's wanted list. Each of your heads is worth 50 million credits. The brothers exchanged a glance, then attacked without hesitation. Lin Xiu's stomach dropped. Both tier 4 warriors. Great. Bailey drew both blades, stepping forward. Watch closely, disciple. This is how you fight using source energy. Lin Xiu understood. She planned to fight them both at once. Her energy aura dwarfed theirs by far. Their first clash erupted with a thunderous shockwave. Bailey pivoted mid-strike and kicked Luo Ying clean off his feet, sending him crashing through the trees. Luo Yang charged in fury, his attacks blazing with energy. Bailey snorted. That all you've got? But before she could press her advantage, both men shouted in unison, activating their joint skill, Meteor Rain Duet. The combined power rivaled a tier 5 warrior strike. Dozens of glowing arrows rained down from the night sky like falling stars. Lin Xiu couldn't help muttering, terrible name, but I'll admit the damage output's serious. Bailey Howling scoffed. Child's play. She channeled her source energy and unleashed a defensive combat art. The rain of arrows from above shattered harmlessly against her barrier. Lin Xiu's eyes widened. Wait, source shields? Those are supposed to be tier 6 level techniques. He'd even heard rumors that high-tier warriors could compress their bodies with energy, rejuvenating themselves. Literally, turning young again. Don't tell me this little sister is actually Aunt Bailey in disguise. The Yin brothers, meanwhile, realized too late they'd messed with the wrong person. Bailey gave them no time to react. She activated a golden grade technique, Falling Moon, 13 slashes. Her silhouette blurred like a ghost through their ranks. In the blink of an eye, both brothers were cut down. Bailey simply stared at their corpses, her expression cold and unreadable. Lin Xiu frowned. Wait, they're still breathing. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and finished them off with 2 clean strikes. System prompt. Enemy defeated, Tier 4 Warrior. EXP plus 1,800,000. Lin Xiu grinned. 2 kills, over 3 million EXP, and a level up. Not bad for cleanup duty. Bailey raised a brow. Didn't expect you to enjoy this kind of thing. Lin Xiu replied seriously. Next time we meet strong enemies, you weaken them. I'll handle the finishing blow. Deal. Bailey frowned, misunderstanding completely. You trying to steal my bounty? Not happening. Suddenly, the system chimed again, frowny face warning. System anomaly detected. Damage contribution below 40%. EXP reduced to 10%. Bug fixed. Level downgraded to 15. Potential points recalled. Lin Xiu shouted, What? That's not even my fault. Why punish me? Another prompt followed, immediately frowny face bug, discovery acknowledged. Compensation granted, plus 3 lottery spins. Level retained at 16. Bailey watched him flip from joy to rage and back again, utterly confused. Is he having a mental breakdown? As night fell, Lin Xiu resumed his energy control training. Under Bailey's supervision, he began coating every part of his body with source energy. Bailey Haolang's lips curved into a mischievous smile. Without warning, she punched Lin Xiu square in the stomach, hard enough to nearly make him puke out his dinner. He flew backward and slammed into a tree with a loud thud. Are you trying to kill me? Lin Xiu roared. Bailey tilted her head. Didn't you notice your defense got stronger? Lin Xiu blinked. Wait, she's right. A punch like that should have crippled him, yet his body only felt sore. The stronger your energy coating, Bailey explained, the tougher your defense becomes. Then she cracked her knuckles with a snap, snap, snap. All right, tonight's special training. Get ready to be beaten up. Lin Xiu barely had time to react. Pow! Her fist connected right with his cheek. By the time dawn broke, his face was swollen like a pig's head. The next day, they finally arrived at Black Sea City. Bailey led him straight into a treasure pavilion. Got any diamond grade skill cards? She asked the clerk. The shopkeeper gave an awkward smile. Those are rare, even for Black Sea City. She had originally planned to buy Lin Xiu a proper gift for becoming her disciple. But with only silver grade cards in stock, she casually picked 8 of them. Without batting an eye, she paid 2.56 million Federation credits. Here, disciple, your welcome gift from me. Lin Xiu took a look and frowned. Aside from a few unarmed combat cards, the rest were worse than his current spear techniques. Bailey shrugged. Haven't seen you use a spear, so I picked at random. Don't like him? Just sell them. 2.5 million credits, given away like pocket change. Lin Xiu was starting to realize this woman was completely insane and filthy rich. Then she went and booked 2 luxury suites, each costing 15,000 a night. Lin Xiu sighed to himself. If I just cling to this woman's thigh, I could skip 10 years of hard work. That night, he sat cross-legged and began learning the 3 unarmed combat cards first. Combining Explosive Fist with his newly learned Tiger Force strike boosted Lin Xiu's power significantly. If he switched mid-combo to Fire Claw, he could catch an opponent off guard, crippling their arm in one strike. Just then, a knock sounded at the door. Lin Xiu assumed it was Bailey Haolang bringing up some late-night snacks. Instead, it was an ambush. The instant a dagger flashed toward him, he reacted. Source energy coating his body. Steel rang against energy as the blade failed to pierce. He kicked the serving cart over, creating space. The assassin flipped gracefully into the air. Dagger aimed straight down at his chest. Clang! Once again, Lin Xiu's energy barrier stopped the strike hold. The attacker froze. A Tier 2 warrior with that defense? Impossible. Lin Xiu lunged forward, igniting his Fire Claw technique, tearing the man's arm clean off. He followed with an Explosive Fist, ending the fight in a burst of heat and shockwave. He turned to the second assassin. Energy gathered in his fist, Tiger Force strike. The compressed air alone pinned the enemy to the wall. Wait, I'm with the Temple of Divinity. You can't kill me. Lin Xiao didn't even blink. One punch. Instant silence. Temple of Divinity? Sounds important. Don't tell me the Tang family is behind this too. A familiar voice called from behind. Not bad, disciple. 2 kills already? Guess the training's paying off. Lin Xiao yelled. Some teacher you are? You just sat there and watched me get stabbed. Bailey Howling shrugged. I trust my student. Now I'll go book a new room. I'll handle the cleanup. The next morning, they headed for the Warrior Federation Hall. Lin Xiao entered as a candidate for the Warrior exam, while Bailey served as one of the official examiners. A huge man pushed through the crowd from behind, shoving everyone aside to cut to the front of the line. The other candidates kept their heads down. None dared provoke him. The guy was already a certified warrior. They were just rookies. But Lin Xiao didn't move an inch. The giant cursed and reached out to push him. Lin Xiao slapped his hand away. Ever heard of waiting your turn? Try it sometime. The brute's expression twisted with fury. Every damn year, there's always some idiot like you. Guess you'll be disqualified early again. Lucky for me, I love crushing weaklings like you. Around them, the other candidates fell silent. Some even muttered quiet prayers for Lin Xiao. The brute roared and threw a massive punch. Lin Xiao met it head-on with his explosive fist. Crack! Bone shattered. The man's entire arm went limp, completely useless. Lin Xiao snorted coldly. Anyone else planning to cut in line? Instantly, the queue straightened. Every candidate standing perfectly spaced several meters away from him. Lin Xiao then stepped up for the combat power test. The scanner beeped. Combat power, 1,499. So close to tier 2, someone whispered. No wonder he crushed that guy so easily. Next was the strength assessment, with Bailey Howling serving as the examiner. She read the rules to a burly candidate. You need at least 1,000 kilograms of single punch force to pass. The man sneered. You? A little teenage girl's the examiner? Bet you can't even hit that yourself. Bailey's face darkened. Then open your damn eyes and watch closely. She stepped forward and slammed her fist into the machine. Beep. 99,999 kilograms. Limit reached. The room went dead silent. Every candidate just stood there dumbfounded. One of them finally muttered, "No way that's real. I'll test it myself." He stepped forward, wound up, and slammed his fist into the machine. Result: 895 kilograms. Bailey Howling glanced over. Fail. You can leave. The man's face twisted in rage. You rigged this thing. He lunged forward, reaching out as if to grab her. Bailey didn't even look. Her hand moved once, crack, snapping his arm like a twig. You've got 30 seconds to disappear, she said calmly, her eyes cold. Otherwise, you'll stay here forever. The man paled, clutched his arm, and fled without another word. Checking the next name on the list, Bailey suddenly smiled. Oh, my dear disciple. Lin Xiao covered his face. You're seriously the examiner? Bailey proudly puffed her chest. Of course. Your master's a level 3 member of the Warrior Federation. Lin Xiao blinked. The Federation had 5 membership tiers. Level 5, Executive Authority. Level 4, National Class Heroes. Level 3 already meant Elite Warrior status, reserved for those with extraordinary combat records. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xiao stepped forward to begin his test. Lin Xiao raised his fist. Boom! The tester flashed red. 1,999 kilograms. Seriously? Bailey Howling stomped her foot. Couldn't you hold back a little? We still have burst and stamina tests left. Don't embarrass your teacher. After completing all the remaining assessments, Lin Xiao easily passed and obtained his warrior license. Bailey Howling had other assignments and couldn't continue his training. Lin Xiao hid his grin, pretending to look reluctant. Bailey saw straight through him and smacked him on the head. Then she tossed him a long metal case. Congratulations, disciple. Your reward, 1 long spear. Borrowed, well, extorted from the pavilion master himself. A top-grade weapon. Should boost your combat power a lot. Lin Xiao froze. An advanced tier weapon, the spear was called Black Fong, once wielded by the legendary spear master, Bailey Rue. The moment he gripped it, Lin Xiu's arms trembled. It was incredibly heavy. 500 kilograms, Bailey explained. Forged from meteorite iron. The only one of its kind on Earth. Wait, Lin Xiu gasped. You mean the black meteor that crashed 100 years ago? Rumor had it 12 weapons were forged from that meteor. Each indestructible, priceless artifacts of war. Lin Xiu clutched the spear, eyes moist with emotion. Bailey waved casually. If you ever get the chance, come find me in Sky City. Sky City? Lin Xiu blinked in disbelief. The floating metropolis, largest in the world, suspended by anti-gravity tech. Only tier 5 warriors or top scientists could live there. Lin Xiu sighed. Maybe clinging to this rich woman's thigh isn't such a bad idea. Still, he turned away, heading down the path towards Sanctuary Academy. At the train station, he was told, no tickets left. With no choice, he decided to stay overnight. On his way back, he felt it, a shadow following close behind. He tried to shake it off, but the ambushers surrounded him. Among them stood a tier 3 warrior. The Temple of Divinity was clearly taking him seriously now. System notification, rapid growth quest completed, plus 50 potential points awarded. The weight vanished from his limbs. His body felt light, his strength surging that he immediately dumped all 50 points into strength. The tier 3 squad charged. Lin Xiu swung and vanished. He reappeared behind their leader. Tiger Force strike. The punch exploded against Fang Zhen's spine. He followed with a kick, sending a tier 2 thug flying. Fire Claw. 2 more went down screaming. One last kick. Boom. A skull burst like a melon. The rest of the assassins froze, terrified. How could a tier 2 be this strong? Fang Zhen staggered back to his feet, coughing blood. If not for his defensive skill, that last blow would have killed him. Snarling, he activated his movement art, illusory flash, and lunged for a deadly counterattack.